welcome to the One Up Podcast. I am your host, El Caballo, aka Tony, here with some of my nearest and dearest. We got Doe in the building, we got Pucho in the building, and we got Mateo in the building on this beautiful Sunday.
We're not in the building. It's COVID times, dude.
You're in a building. How about that? We got him in a building. Fucking interrupting me.
A building usually is bigger than a house, right?
A house is a building.
The house is definitely a building.
The house is a building. The question, though, is a hot dog a sandwich?
It is if you put it in between the bread.
I mean, that's what a hot dog is.
Oh, yeah, you can even do that. I'm just saying like a taco sandwich.
No, like a hot dog and a hot dog bun, like a regular hot dog in a bun with toppings and all that. Is it a sandwich?
What classify as a sandwich, though?
I'm asking you.
I think it's two pieces of bread and whatever is in between that makes it a sandwich, I guess.
So you think the bun being attached makes it not a sandwich?
No, I think that also makes it.
It's like an open-faced sandwich where you made a mistake, right?
Yeah. Could agree with that. It's a sandwich.
Hot dog's definitely a sandwich. Nobody calls it a sandwich, though. Nobody says, give me one of those hot dog sandwiches, my good man.
If someone says hot dog sandwich, you know they're probably an alien.
Either way. So how was everybody's week? We'll start off with my right-hand man, Doe.
I'm doing good.
Switch up, Pucho.
I'm offended. Okay.
Did you not see
last time around, I was the right-hand man, okay? So I found this quite odd. Yeah.
This is a new episode, okay?
Yeah, my feelings change every
new episode,
weekend.
New Tony. New dynamic. Okay. Go ahead, Doe, the favorite son.
I started watching Ted Lasso, and if any of you guys, I think Pooch, you recently got an iPad. They're giving you a year of Apple TV. It's on Apple TV. It's pretty fucking good, and I can't. It's a like comedy-ish show, but I like it a lot.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. What I've been doing too. You mentioned I got the iPad, right? Is I got the iPhone and I got a free year Apple TV, and then at the same time I also bought Lisi's iPhone. So then when that year expired, I did the 1 year free. We got the Apple Watches, and we have done the same thing. And so I still got one more Apple Watch to use for the free year, and then I'm gonna use the iPad.
Does the Apple Watch give you a free year? Because I got mine.
I'm pretty sure every Apple product you purchased, it gives you a free year of Apple TV.
I will have to keep that in mind because there is a show on Apple TV I've been wanting to watch that has Ashley Birch in it. And one of the guys from Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, I saw the first episode of that like a year and a half ago or something. It's old, right?
Yeah, I think so.
At this point, yeah, it's like I thought it was funny, but I have a bad habit of starting shows at night and then I just pass out.
Do you guys have
sleeping shows?
Do you have to have the device for the Apple TV, or is it straight off your phone? Because I also have it on my phone, like a few, except the TV plus free.
Oh, you're saying if you need to have the Apple TV television?
Because I have it on my phone. So
No. It's an app.
It's an app, like so you can put it. I have it on my Samsung TV, I think, and I also have it on the Roku. The Fire Stick has it.
So I guess I'll just have to research what shows that I like on it. If not,
the Aquaman has a show on there called Sea. It was pretty cool.
Huh.
The whole world is blind, like Bird Box.
Oh, wow.
Well, actually, the whole world's not blind in Bird Box. They're choosing to close their eyes because they'll die otherwise. But I guess this is a choice.
Which we know is bullshit now, because there would be Bird Box deniers, and they would just be like going about their normal lives, just going out there without the blindfolds on.
Off with their heads.
So also, before we switch over to the next person, a moment of silence for the PS3 and PS Vita and PSP stores. They're closing down. I never thought that this day would come, and it's depressing. As a person who solely buys digital content, this is basically the first awakening that none of this content is actually mine, and that I'm licensing it out for however long their servers are up for. So shout out to these amazing consoles, and rest in peace.
That
rest
sucks.
In power.
Because it's
like fucking blows.
So we buy them digitally, but they're not really ours. If they feel like so then what's the point of buying anything digital?
that now that I'm kind of second guessing my strategy.
Because then
Well, I mean,
that means
the point would be convenience, right? Is that I know that I could go to Tony's house right now without taking anything, and I could log into my account on his PlayStation and just download my game and play it.
And usually with cloud saves and shit. Like, although I guess cloud save is not exclusive to a digital copy or
Yeah,
not
not
digital
anymore.
copy.
But yeah, there's pros and cons to each. Believe it or not, even the disc itself, you're just licensing it. There's rules. You can't rip that disc and share it with other people. Like that you're breaking laws. Like there, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Basically, one more thing. Basically, the only way in the future, because some of the it's like online DRM that's attached to PS3 and Vita. Unless they correct that and give like an update that stops that from happening, eventually you just won't be able to link the account with the servers and you'll be screwed. So what's gonna happen eventually is these are just gonna become homebrew. Like you're just gonna have hacked Vitas, hacked PS3s, PSPs. All of these things are just gonna be hacked because that's how you get over all of those mountains. You just gotta hack it. So hacking should be big soon.
Do what you gotta do.
Yeah.
I just got tight. Literally
Why?
got tight. Because the streamer thing came on the on the video, and I just exited and it made it full screen. So I just got a little tight. Ignore me. Yeah, outspoken.
Be professional, Tony.
Yeah, my
Jesus.
bad.
Like, think about the professionalism that we're displaying on this podcast at all times, and you need to match that level. You can't come in here with your mistakes and your blunders. Dude,
I think it's
we
natural
can't do
though.
it.
I think that the viewers would
natural.
appreciate it. They'll be like, "Oh
The
well."
viewers,
they're
they're gonna be
go
mad
through each
when they
episode.
hear this. They're gonna be mad.
Fuck
This
it.
They're
is-
gonna be furious.
It's our podcast.
This is unacceptable.
do
This
what
is
the fuck we want.
unacceptable.
Yeah. We're gonna kick you off.
You're ruining our storylines.
We voted. The board voted. The board members have voted.
It's
No,
gonna be a mutiny, Tony.
No, this big twist we had planned for episode 20 now, dude. It's ruined.
It's fucked.
That's fine. Y'all kick me out. I'll just make the one down podcast.
How
and
you
I'll
doing,
just shit
Tony?
on y'all.
How you doing?
I'm all right, man. Thanks for asking, Pooch. Because Doughboy technically was supposed to ask me, but he don't care about me. So you're not my
Was he?
right hand man no more.
Wow.
I was going to warn Doey that it was going to turn real fast because you remember when he complimented his hat and then 5 minutes later he was telling him how much he hated that stupid hat.
Yeah.
But
Yo.
now,
Also, just for the viewers, there's no backroom deal for Doey to have asked that question. There was no agreement. Tony just made it up on the spot. He just
So I
found
get
the
to
reason to kill Tony, to kill Doey. He just backstabbed him as soon as he called him his right hand man.
Yep.
Just in case you guys are wondering how much you should trust Tony. So
I always have
FYI.
a one up on everybody here.
damn, the one.
I'm so
Not-
offended.
I'll
Not
bring
even
you
the
up.
Ides of March.
That was the one down actually, because I brought you up, and then, bam, the hammer.
You didn't even give me an episode. You gave me like 8 minutes.
That's enough. But no, my week was good, man. I got around to building some of the baby furniture. By the
I
way,
heard that.
yeah, thanks for the crib too, man. It's a nice crib. Took a while, but it came out nice. It's I expected the crib to be a little higher, right? But I guess not. I don't know. Maybe I'm just tall as fuck. But it's just
Nah, I feel the same fucking way, dude. Now that my daughter's like hopping around and jumping and shit, we got to put the bed of the crib to the lowest setting. And I'm almost breaking my back every time I'm like putting her in there. It's like, what the fuck? At least for now, you could have. I mean, your kid's not going to sleep in the crib for a while, but once they start sleeping in the crib, they're not even going to be able to stand yet. So the crib could be much higher. Not the crib, but the bed. There should be some contraption. The bed should have like levels to. So
yeah, because
that-
the bed it does have levels. Because the top part is what you want right now for the infant or the newborn type thing. But he's not gonna be in there. But at that point, but then you can lower it down, and then it becomes to a bed. Because now I can take that front part that makes the crib, and I can take it off, and now he can just go in and out of his own little bed. So I mean, that crib's useful as hell, dude. That's gonna be there for a good part of his couple years of life at least. Like, because that's a bed. I don't have to buy a bed yet. I don't, you know what I mean? So
yeah, I don't
it's a
think
good
any.
buy.
I was my attempt was to get you a good gift that would last a while, but I don't think anyone could one up Doey's gift. Doey bought me a car seat for Liana that'll
Those things are
last her till
expensive.
she's 10 fucking years old.
Those
This
things are
fucking seat is
expensive,
like a
dude.
transformer of a car seat. It keeps detaching and changing into different parts over the years. So it's like a full-on fucking infant seat that just transforms into like a toddler seat. Then it's like a booster. Then I don't know what the fuck it is. Dude, when I was 10 years old, my dad was throwing me in the back of a pickup truck, all right? So like I don't know what the fuck my daughter's gonna be sitting in when she's 10, but the shit says like 5 months to 10.
Yeah, Doughboy also got me that car seat too. Like it's literally in the closet, like that.
Because he wants to one up everybody.
No, that's a damn good.
That's
gift.
a one up proof gift.
Yeah,
like the only thing Neff one up though. That's the only one up.
Facts,
No, there's a level above that. It would be him getting you a car to put that car seat into.
that's the one up.
Didn't you say your uncle bought you college for the kid?
One of the uncles,
yeah, one of her uncles. No, 3 of her uncles, I believe.
Okay,
4.
yeah.
Wow.
So that's a one up.
That's a one up.
That's fucking fire, dude. That's a setting. That's like family's supposed to help. You know how they say like it takes a village to raise a kid. That's some village shit. Right?
Absolutely,
it's like some new age village shit. Since ain't nobody living in villages no more. Not in America. Okay.
And this is great because then that's like. People don't really see that's real future shit. Like now, like my kid now has that chance. So when he has a kid, going through this college already getting halfway paid for, it's a big step. So now he sets himself up to get money for his kid. And then that's just building generational wealth, I would say. Not like how it is now with some people who has crazy amount of money, but that's definitely building. That was a great gift, man. I've never seen that shit in my life. And to see it and, people can actually do things like that. That's amazing, dude. I wish I had enough money to do that to somebody else. You know what I mean? Like to do that. Let me hit the Powerball. I'll bless everybody. You get a car. You get a car. On some Oprah Winfrey shit. But how was your week, Mateo?
Not too bad, man. No complaints. Nothing exciting. Been pretty quiet here in Texas. We hit 90-degree weather already, so that's exciting. This summer's gonna be miserable. Melt.
Yeah.
These summer episodes, the One Up podcast is just gonna be me like naked, just sitting on some ice cubes or something, just like sweating. It's gonna be rough, man.
It'll be a good episode progression. You go from melting snow in the blizzard to just melting skin.
Mm-hmm.
That's
need to get one of those Ben Gay fans and put it like right behind me.
Ben Gay fan. That's gonna suck when it gets to that hot part because Ben Gay has a cold and hot like icy hot, right?
That's where the pleasure comes from. Eso da mucho gusto.
That's terrible. I would not want to experience some shit like that.
You would. Don't knock it till you try it, man. People have told me that the Bengay fan technique is unrivaled.
But you need the good fan, though. You need that good fan.
You sent me the picture of the fan. That shit is hurricane force wind fan.
And they were cheap. They were like $30. So $30.
Was it 30? I thought it said 230.
I think that's for the big fan.
That's for the big fan. You don't need the. You want the big fan. The other ones
so that you're feeling wind on every nook and cranny of your shaft. You want to feel every single aspect of that wind blast mixed with the Bengay hot cold effect. It needs to be hitting. That thing needs to be thanging, all right?
So for $248, you can have a fan and a Bengay hell of a time.
Many times, as long as the fans don't break.
There's a lot of uses out of that tube or tub or whatever Bengay comes in.
Not if you're Doughboy. Doughboy's talking about he slathered himself with that shit. Doughboy used the whole damn the tube.
This episode brought to you by Bengay.
Yeah. There we go.
All right.
That's wild. Also, freaking yesterday, I had to go on a road call, like a call for work. It was a fucking monsoon out here last night. For anybody that lives in Florida or in Palm Beach area or whatever, like you know what the hell I'm talking about. Saturday night, it was crazy. Why do people still fucking use hazard lights to fucking drive down the road, bro? That is not legal. You literally cannot. That's not what those are for, bro. Like people have hazard lights. Helpful how? You're not gonna be able to signal people that you're switching lanes.
It's increasing visibility though.
bro.
I think
Yeah,
once you see them blinking hazard lights, it's a great indication to slow down.
No, it's a
Yep.
great indication.
I'm with you.
that
I'm with you that it's illegal, and I'm also with you that it makes it a little bit more difficult of lane switching. I think if people have their hazard lights on, you probably shouldn't be lane switching though.
Yeah.
When people start doing that in Florida, it's like torrential rain where you almost can't see but 3 feet in front of your car.
But you still got your running lights on, like your brake lights, like the normal lights are on. All those lights are on, so that's being able to be. I can still see that, but I'm saying these people are going 60 miles, 50 miles an hour with hazard lights on. They're flying by
That's weird.
me with
No, that's
hazard lights
weird.
on. I'm
That's
like,
weird.
yo, what the fuck are we doing here? Like,
I've-
the hazard
Yeah.
lights are meant when you're broken, when your car breaks down or there's an accident or something that you're stopped. Those hazard lights are warning to people to they're at a stop or a slowdown. They're not to just keep driving. Oh, I got hazard lights on. I'm good now. No, that's not how those.
I've turned my hazard lights on and just driven.
Yeah.
I haven't turned them on and drove at 60 miles an hour. The times that I've seen them on the highway is when there's so much rain that people are driving 15, 20 miles an hour tops.
Yep.
Like, I turn that shit on because you don't want some asshole like Tony driving a fucking Silverado to come and rear end the living shit out of you. Like, you got your kid in the car. Your kid is about to go to college with their Florida prepaid. Maybe, living the good life. And you got some
Wow.
fucking asshole in a Silverado gonna
Yo.
ram you right up the anus, like the
Go-
anus, as some would say.
Go knock on wood, my nigga. You just painted a whole picture of my life with my child and
Knock
some
on
dick in
wood.
his. Yeah, nigga.
I said
you
I
just-
was driving.
word.
Wow.
But
I
using
don't even
BS
believe.
niggas,
Knock on wood for what? Magic?
Yeah,
He's
I
gonna
don't
be
even believe
driving-
in jinx. Okay.
Knock
He's
on
gonna
that
be
shit.
driving. He's gonna be
What
driving with
is-
his 10-year-old in the booster seat.
We got this Florida prepaid, baby. Silverado.
Oh man. So Pooch, how's your week been, man? What's been going on with you?
Similar to Mateo. It's been pretty uneventful. Other than I got the first COVID shot, so
Nice.
I'm happy about that. So I got like another 2-3 weeks before I get my second shot, and then I'll be fully vaccinated shortly after that. So
That sounds like Pfizer gang to me.
oh yeah, Pfizer
No.
fucking gang.
Yeah.
Adobo,
we're
are you a
about-
Pfizer
I'm
member?
gonna get
We're a Moderna.
I'm gonna get the fuck Moderna tat.
Wow.
Like that. And I'm gonna look like
Wow.
them Lake Worth gangbangers. Like,
Lake Worth gang. Look at the boy so offended because he's a Moderna
Yeah.
dick.
I'm a Moderna cock. But
So-
my mom and
Tony's a
my
Moderna
grandma
hoe.
got my mom and grandma got the Pfizer. I got the Moderna.
gang.
that's good.
Tauntauns know what time it is.
Mhm.
Shout out.
Shout
my
out to
grandma.
Tauntauns.
Tauntauns. She's gonna like that.
She's gonna hate. She's gonna be like, "Why you guys call me Tauntaun?" Does she know that we call her Tauntaun?
Yeah, she
Oh,
knows.
okay.
Mhm.
That's like a 12-year-old nickname at this point.
That's
Shout
easy.
out to Battle Rap Encyclopedia. Okay.
Yo, facts.
Yeah.
And Nikki Warbucks. Fans of the show, friends and family of the show.
Yep.
Better than that. Oh.
No, that's dope though, man. Freaking, I can't wait to get mine. I'm getting my Pfizer, Riser, whatever the hell shot. I fucking forgot the word. Next Saturday. So
Damn, we're gonna have to find a fourth person to get this Pfizer shot.
yeah, we got to
and find
take
a new
we got
top
to
left dude
take
up
this
here.
guy out of here for real.
I know. I was talking to Easy, man. He was skeptical, but also more open than he was open, but a little skeptical. But he's gonna join the Pfizer gang. We're gonna kick Tony off. We already discussed the mutiny, and then as the Pfizer gang, we're kicking Doey off. So sorry.
I was so
Yeah,
confused.
you're a Moderna hoe. You're out of here. We
it's-
needed
it's
4
what-
Pfizers.
No, it's whatever. I mean, like honestly, like the big twist that's coming is Buchu and I are gonna take over as top right and top left eventually.
Yeah, they got the browner guys on the bottom around these parts. So.
Yo, why do they put us on top? What's up with that?
Because you're my left hand guy on my screen, so you got to be
I
next.
think
to
it's
me.
just alphabetical.
It's
Nah,
definitely
you think it
alphabetical.
is?
Yeah.
I'm gonna change that shit.
Yeah, you could literally see Doey's Doey. You're under your gamer tag kicking ass, and Mateo's Mito, and my name Pucho. It's just alphabetical.
You can always just change it though, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It would break my I would break my brain a little bit, honestly, if we were like mixed up in order on one
Yeah,
of the
because we're kind of
episodes.
used to it now, like this.
No,
Mhm.
I'm
Also-
bottom. You know, what we need to do is figure out once we create this Pfizer gang, we need to figure out how to do a little payback to all these healthcare workers out there putting in. Dude, they had like a whole system, dude. I pulled up to the spot, and maybe within 6 minutes of me parking my car, and that's me, I had to fill out paperwork when I got there. 6 minutes, I got the vaccine. That shit was
That's
quick
awesome.
like that. Yeah.
Wow.
Did you get
It took me
sick?
much longer.
Nope, and no symptoms at all. Not even I slept on my arm, and I think it was like a little sore. Like it almost felt like a tiny bruise, but that was literally like for 10 minutes after I woke up. Lisi got hers too. She got like in the morning. She woke up and she was like, "Yo, I feel like I'm gonna get a cold," and then it went away like 30 minutes later. So
That's
neither
awesome.
of us got sick at all. So
That's
they
dope.
say the
Wow.
second one's the one that fucks you up, though.
Man, I was talking to a guy in an elevator the other day, and he told me he's not going to get the vaccine because he had read reports that over 200 people had gotten the vaccine and they still got COVID and died. And like, that's a crazy amount. Can you imagine how high that percentage must be with 100 million people vaccinated in the United States and 200 people got COVID and died? Like, it's too unsafe. I feel that guy completely. His
I
math
know.
That guy
holds
is
up.
also just dead wrong too, because I mean, last I checked, we're only like in. I was reading maybe it was 2 weeks ago, and maybe 2 weeks gives you a lot more numbers. But I think we had like a grand total of 3 or 4 fully vaccinated people that have died from the virus. Maybe
I-
200 people have gotten the virus, but
I
fully
would
vaccinated.
I would assume this man was getting a lot of his news from Facebook and guys in backwards baseball caps yelling in their truck. So like I don't know that he has the most up-to-date news sources.
I do think that it would suck that I haven't contracted the virus yet, so I go and get the shots, and then I'm actually have to be hospitalized because I have fucking COVID-19. That shit is destroying me. Like that shit would get me tight. I
No,
bet
it's not going to happen.
People would say no. He's saying that if he got the shots and then separately from getting the shots, he just contract COVID naturally.
That actually
would
happened
suck.
to one of my family members. She got the first shot, and then like a week and a half later, she actually got COVID.
Yeah.
But she
do
beat
you
it.
think it could be from the shot?
No.
Maybe they
No,
did.
God, I hate you so much.
Easiest
Tommy. Just say what you feel. What's up with the eyebrows and the little shoulders? Like, you never
I'm
know.
doing a little shout out conspiracy to Easy. That's why it's the easy thing.
Yeah.
That's
Hell
the easiest
no.
thinking. I'm telling you.
There is no live virus inside of the vaccine, so it
Can you
wouldn't
prove
be
that?
possible. Can I prove it?
Yeah.
No. But
Him
what can
personally.
you prove, Tony?
I can't. I neither cannot prove
No,
my.
about anything. This is an interesting conversation. You can't prove anything.
I can prove anything.
You cannot prove anything.
I
at
can
all.
prove that Dallas Cowboys got 5 fucking rings from the Super Bowl. I can prove that. There's stats. There's facts. I can prove that. I can also prove that this water bottle is made out of plastic.
Mhm. And it's filled with vodka.
I can
How can
also
you prove that it's made out of plastic?
I can.
What is plastic?
Hmm.
Whoa. See that? Also,
I'm proving shit. I'm already proving shit.
no,
I'm
you're not.
also proving
no, you're not.
that.
What are you proving?
am
Even
31 years
saying
old.
that they want. What if the referees fix the game? Like, would that prove that
It's
they've?
not
I'm just
boxing.
saying. What?
It's not boxing.
Okay. So because boxing's my favorite sport, you want to try to take shots at me? All right. I see these little slick games that Tony, you know.
Yeah, this
Look at his-
this is exactly why fucking I hate Pucho, but I love him at the same time because he knows all of my antics. So he has a defense mechanism, almost like KRS-One. I have a fucking list of defense mechanisms just for
Shout out
Tony.
to Chris. Yo, KRS-One, he got a rhyme right now. As soon as our podcast makes it in the top 10 billboards, he'll write a rhyme to destroy each of our careers.
He will
Or it's
destroy.
over.
I'll tell you right now, he would destroy Doughboy on his bladder. He would attack
Yeah,
Doughboy's
facts.
bladder
Facts.
so quick. It'll be.
It'll be the urinary tract.
Thank you. That's fire.
That's fucking fire. This man's helping KRS-One right now.
You little pissy bitch. Like I can hear it now.
He's from the
Oh,
Bronx
man.
too, so he's gonna call Doey a fake ass Bronx motherfucker. Like, because Doey only lived there for a little while.
You left the Bronx. Everybody knows why.
BX bitch. They didn't be-
I'm not gonna say no words, but everybody knows why you don't come back to the Bronx.
Every
What's
time,
up with hip hop dudes? They always got the supposed inside scoops on every single thing that has ever happened. There's like a nefarious reason why Doey don't live in the Bronx no more. Like, it was like that one time that the one dude at the bodega checked him. He said, "Yo, I gotta pack up my bags and go to Manhattan." You know
honestly,
what I'm saying? Like,
it's probably.
where-
Go ahead, my bad. I cut you off.
no. I was just gonna say where the dudes are rocking pink. You know that was a play that people used to say about them Harlem dudes back in the day. So.
No, I'm just gonna say they probably kicked him out of the Bronx because Doughboy just doesn't know how to tip properly at bars that he goes to. That's the thing. That's probably what it is.
Doey's master tipper.
He called
Doey gives everybody his tip.
He called too many people my love. He called too many people my love. He was pissing on like everything, just absolutely everything at 3 o'clock in the morning.
You know
course-
the funny thing about the pissing thing, in every location that I either lived, worked, or I hang around, I have spots. I'm like, okay, come with me. I have the location to piss.
Like a
Like, you
fucking
would be-
cat or a dog.
Yeah, and when I go get my bike fixed, Best Buy. Yo, them people know me already. I'm like, can I use the bathroom?
Oh, okay. So you go in the bathroom. I thought you got spots in the corner of the street that you just
I
whip
have-
your dick
I
out
got
in.
both.
He also
I got
has that.
Wow.
I got both.
Nah, like
Yeah.
when in high school, right? I mentioned on previous episodes I had a big shitting anxiety where I just wouldn't shit outside of my house. Just to roll that back, a correction is I used to shit at school, but there was specific spots, right? You can't get bag shitting at school now. So I was in Trojan House, right? Which was our mascot was the Trojans, hence the name, and it was just like a 2-period long class where we could just mainly we didn't do anything but have fun, but it was supposed to be like a construction class where we worked on an actual house trying to like fix it and shit like that. It was a disaster.
I was always jealous of you guys because when I was in like math or some shit, I'd look out the window and I see a line of kids walking out of the school, just like chilling and having fun.
Yeah,
I was not jealous at
But,
all, nigga. They were sweating during school time. Like niggas would come back and be sweat.
3 days out of the week, we just watch SWAT. For some reason, we watched that movie SWAT a lot. I was sick of that shit. Yo, shout out to all the homies in Trojan House. They know what I'm talking about. We watched SWAT about 1 million times. That shit was depressing. Anyhow, we as a group, we had a camaraderie where we were together. We were like, yo, shits have to occur. And we were okay with each other shitting. And it provided a more open, a safer space to take a shit, so to speak. So we used to go to Mr. Ginsburg's classroom because he had a private bathroom in his classroom, and we used to shit up that bathroom. And there was another bathroom we used to take shits in. And that bathroom had it was a private bathroom in the classroom. It was just that classroom's bathroom. It had 5. It was disgusting because you'd have 5 boys that go in there. We used to have to go to the cafeteria to fill up water, right? And then the cafeteria ladies, I'd be super nice to them. They were all Spanish, so I'd talk to them in Spanish. And then they would just give me all the leftover food from lunch. So they'll give me a bunch of taco snacks, a bunch of chicken sandwiches, a bunch of juices. And then, we would leave the cafeteria almost every day. We used to get into fights and competitions about who would go to fill up the water because you'd have to go to the cafeteria and then you would get free lunch. It would be free like second lunch really. And so then we used to pick up all these chicken sandwiches, taco snacks, juices, and honey buns, all that shit. We used to spread that shit out amongst the crew and then mix that, sweating in the hot sun, you moving around, the fact that it was a second lunch, the fact that you already bought a honey bun and bugles from the vending machine before you went out, and you got like a little ticking time bomb forming in your stomach. So then and we were all like, all right. And then next thing you know, everybody gets back from outside and you got a line of dudes waiting to take a shit in Mr. Ginsburg's bathroom. So then everybody used to sit in there 5 deep and just shit. Everybody, it was disgusting, dude. 5 shits happening at once. Everybody, and it was fun as shit. We were all talking shit to each other the whole time. Like, damn, your shit stinks, yo. What the blah, blah, blah. And then,
nobody's hitting a courtesy flush.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
That
Mr.
shit
Rosser,
it
Mr.
still
Rosser, the
stinks.
teacher, he used to go in there and take a shit himself, and then be like, "Damn, boys, you guys need to hit a courtesy flush." So it was fun times, right? This is my favorite class in high school. It's the best shit. Probably could have done more productive things, but it was definitely the most fun I had in school. So.
Where do
Yo,
we start at? Where do we start at? Tony doesn't know how to tip. He doesn't believe in tipping people.
No,
Yeah, though he gives everybody his tips.
Doey gives everybody his tips.
I
Everybody.
don't give everyone, but I do tip.
Explain your tipping philosophy, because we've mocked it so many times in the past,
My
and
tipping,
let's get it out on the table in a safe space where no one's going to criticize your philosophy.
I'm criticizing.
It's a lie.
so like in a general sense, I'm very nice to the people who handle my food. I'm very courteous, very respectful, things like that. That's like always a one. I'm not tipping a person that's gonna sell me a polo shirt. It's like there's places that I tip and there's places that I don't tip. For most places, it's like food and stuff and people handling my food. That's like a no brainer. Less so when I'm in vacation. I don't really tip too well. Like, but where I live and the places that I'm gonna frequent, I tip very well.
So-
do you tip at fast food?
When I'm in my area, yeah.
So like
So
a
here-
Dunkin' Donuts, a McDonald's.
It depends, but yeah, sometimes at Dunkin' Donuts, like I'm around my job, I definitely tip the Dunkin' Donut workers. I tip the pizza shop workers. I tip the deli workers, stuff like that. Like only because I'm gonna be there every day, and eventually, it'll make its way back to my pocket somehow.
So,
Hmm.
question then is: does that change the motivation behind your tipping? Then, if you are more likely to tip local, are you tipping because you think you're going to get things in the future for free? Like, are you tipping completely for like, oh, when I tip, that means I'm going to get some free drinks in the future. That means I'm going to
Exactly.
get hooked up
Oh.
on some food.
Yeah,
Because I tip in general. You remember the last time I went up to New York with you? I think it was 2019, that winter. You remember that bougie bar we went to down in the financial district?
yes,
You remember that chick that Adam and I were
that was
there kicking it
cool.
with?
That was a
I,
cool bar.
I tipped the shit out of that chick, but I tip in
Mhm.
general.
Yeah.
But I mean, she did hook us up with a lot of drinks, but that wasn't the reason I tipped. The reason I tipped
No.
is she was awesome to just sit there and chill and talk with.
There's definitely
I can't remember the name of that bar, but shout out to Veronica. Remember, her name was Veronica with a W. I remember that chick's name.
it was next to the restaurant you guys ate at with that movie Gangs of New York. One of the gangs
Yeah, it was
names.
It was next to
The
the
Dead
rat. Something.
Rabbits.
Yeah,
Wow. See, I don't even know. I just remember the gang from the movie. Dead
yeah,
Rabbit.
There
Dead
was a
Rabbits.
bar. There was a bar right next door, and that chick hooked us up. Like I gave her some dice, I think, because we taught her that game, that dice game that I like to play, threes or triples.
Threes is great, but I had fun, man. I enjoyed myself that day.
Dude, we
So
we sat at this bar in the financial district for like 8 hours drinking, and
Mhm.
I think we walked out paying like $20 each. Like, she hooked us up.
Yeah,
So Doey tips out of pure. He's trying to min
Selfishness, you
max
could.
what he could get back.
yeah, you
Absolutely,
could
it's selfish.
definitely say that. Yeah,
It's like min maxing what he's gonna get back, right?
Mhm.
That's
And
interesting.
Mateo's saying that he just tips
I-
cool
I just-
people and good servers, and
Also,
I tip good people, chill people. I tip in general. Like, I'm not gonna walk out of a bar and not tip, even if you're giving me shitty service. Your tip will probably be a little bit less than someone like that goes above and beyond. But I'm always going to tip.
for sure, I also carry that rule. I if you have good service, mostly.
I mean,
If you
at a
provide
bar
that-
at a bar for me, the minimum is I'm going to tip $1 a drink. If I'm getting good service, I'm going to go 20% or higher, or like it all depends. I've tipped like 30%, 35% at a bar before because they were killing it. I think
Damn.
Veronica, that chick down in the financial district, she was killing it. She got a heavy tip. I think I tipped her more than I paid at the bar that day.
Yeah, I've given
Really?
a bartender at the end of the night. I've thrown them a like big tip, like $40.
yeah, I am more in line. I think with Mateo's camp. I don't typically tip, and just a caveat that I don't live in the city like that. So I live in Florida. You got to drive everywhere. I feel like the relationships you foster with the the restaurants and stuff like that. Especially me, I'm like in college town. The shit is ever changing. It's like every time I go to the bartender, it's like a different student that just got a job there, type of shit. So it's just like, but yeah. Basically, I just flat tip everybody like 20%, 15%, shit like that. I'm not like, oh, that service was shit, and then I'm like, oh, she gets 10% or he gets 10%, or oh, like, and then the only time there's some caveats is like if someone gave me really good service, like maybe I'll hit them off with like a little bit extra, or whatever. But
Have y'all ever been out with someone that actually did that super shitty like tipping method where they put like the stack of like dollars on the table? They put like $20 on the table, and they've told the waiter like they're like, this is your potential tip, but every time I have to wait to fill up my drink or something, I'm going to take $1 off of like.
No.
Have you ever actually been with someone? Because I've heard that was a thing, but I've never actually seen anyone do it in person.
That seems like a really shitty thing to do.
Incredibly shitty. 100%.
That's beast.
that's interesting. Is it shitty? So you guys think it's shitty, and Tony, you think it's shitty, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like the same thing as like bringing out a time, like one of those little sands of time thing, and then turning them and be like, yo, if you don't come back and check on me before this ends, it's going to hurt your tip. It's just like putting a time limit or like setting some sort of standard.
It'd be like if we put a shock collar on Tony, and every time he said something ignorant or made a flat face, we just shocked him remote.
Wow.
Actually,
I think that's a good idea.
Or when
Yeah.
he speaks in all caps in text.
like a grandma.
So
No.
to go-
So I think that what are you shaking your head no for?
No,
He
'cause
wanted a chance to defend himself.
I want to put a collar on y'all when y'all interrupt me, especially Doughboy. Every time you want to cut off, zap. I'm zapping the shit out of you. Every time Pucho has a slick comment, I'm zapping the shit out of him.
Wow.
Anytime Mateo wants to troll, I'm fucking zapping the shit out of it. And then I'm just gonna keep zapping Mateo until the battery fucking dies.
Wow. Okay.
But no, I wanted to say before I did the cut and you cut and I cut back in. It was called Francis Tavern, where you guys had the whiskeys and all that. It was. I would just Google the image of that bar and.
Is it Water Street? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yes, that might be it.
26 Water Street, New York. I searched it up because I was curious on that tavern that you spent 8 hours in. So I just wanted to know.
Let's see where this is.
But tipping.
Yeah, so tipping, right? So you guys think it's very shitty, right? I also feel like there's like a level of like pretentiousness or like beneath you, that you view the waiter or waitress as beneath you. And so, all right, to answer your question, I've never been around anybody who has ever put down a stack of bills and basically gave the waitress like an ultimatum or whatever. But
I don't do that.
Isn't it kind of cool, like in the sense, like they're clearly communicating what they want out of this transaction, as opposed to someone who would just sit there and be pissed off about their service and then just give lesser tip. You're giving a person an opportunity to do better, or to basically reach a goal, so to speak. Whether they want to reach that or not, that's on them. But it's like, is it better that you're clearly communicating your desires and then is on the waiter or waitress to choose whether they want to operate in that fashion or not?
That's arrogant.
I think it's a real selfish way to go about things.
Also,
I think it's
also these people do not make that much money to be.
That's a whole other. That's a
You know
whole
what I
other
mean?
topic. Like,
so the place was actually called Porterhouse Brew Company.
Yes, I was
looked
about
it
to
up.
say it.
Porterhouse. Oh,
Porterhouse
damn.
Brew
So
Company. I was
that
about
was
to
not
say
in the Google
So,
search.
so big shout out to Veronica at Porterhouse Brew Company, and hopefully she made it over to Ireland before this pandemic started, because she said she was going to go to their sister location in Ireland, and she was going to spend some time last year bartending there. Big shout out to that chick. That chick was awesome. She was one of the best
I
people
hope
I've met in New York.
I hope she she watches this one day and be like, oh my God, that guy
Doey's
remembers
got
me.
her. Doey's got her on Insta.
Yeah, but that was my old Insta.
Damn, Mateo's heartbroken. But no, so that's I think that's arrogant. Putting a stack of money on the table and be like, listen, this is your tip money. You fuck up, I'm taking $1 every time. I think that's a little dickish. Like I get it. You're trying to pass, though. Your point is like, give me good service type shit. But if a waitress or a waiter is good, they're gonna give you good quality service. If they're shitty, they're gonna give you shitty. You can make like what I do when I go out and I'm gonna tip.
it's just like this. Imagine you got fired from your job and they didn't really tell you why you got fired. They just tell you, yo, you've been sucking at your job. Wait, could you give me more specifics? And they're just like, nah, overall, you just suck at your job. That would feel way shittier than if they gave you a list of things that they want you to do, and you could clearly see that you failed to reach those goals, and then that's why you're getting the result that you're getting.
But
which world is more desirable?
Putting a stack of paper on a table and telling her that's like a little ridiculous to me. I would say if she fucks up, I'd be like, hey, listen, I just keep the drinks coming, or like, there's a way to approach these waiters or waitresses, right? And with me, if the service is bad in general, and after, I'd be like you could tell when it's going to be bad, just how they walk up and how their first interactions is, right? And I could tell it's going to be bad, but I give them a chance. And I'm tipping solely off your service. That's it. Like, if you got shitty service, I don't feel like I need to tip you. That's just how I feel. My wife is in belief that if they're to give them a tip, regardless to a certain degree of how bad they're servicing you, like if they're not disrespecting you and shit or whatever, she feels like you still need to give them a tip because they're trying to live off the tip. Go ahead.
Yeah, philosophically, I'm against tipping, dude. Like, just straight up. Philosophically, I don't think that I should be supplementing the wages of some employer who doesn't want to pay people a fair wage.
100%.
I don't know. So I tip because it's a necessity for people to get a fair wage. But when I went to Japan, these people won't take your tip. Even if you try to give it to them, they'll fight you to give you your money back. So they have like an anti-tipping mentality in that country. And then in Europe, they don't give a fuck. Dude, they'll sit your ass at a table, dude, and you'll wait an hour and a half for your food to come out. Like, they don't give a shit. They're just living life. They'll bring you your beers on in a timely manner, and that's about it. That's all they care about. Besides that, they don't really care. They're not coming back to refill drinks every 5-10 minutes. You're not checking in with them about, where the food at? They don't give a fuck because they are getting paid livable wages. They don't need a slave to make your couple extra bucks. You know?
They don't get mad when I go behind the bar and fill up or go in the kitchen and grab my fucking food. I'm a beast. I'm like,
I mean, I never did that, so I don't know. I'm just letting you know that they don't have like the super fast mentality that the waiters and waitresses in America have, because they know that there's people like Tony that say, if I get bad service, I'm not getting. If I give bad service, I'm not going to get a tip.
This is the origin story of our spin-off series, International Travel with Tony, the Husk Abroad.
Abroad.
I'm telling you, bro. Like, it's just simple. It's just fucking simple. Like, I'm not gonna put money on the table. I want you to give me what you think is a good service. Like, cause I used to help. I used to do back in the days. I used to work at Chuck E. Cheese or whatever. I used to host parties. And I would give these people top-notch fucking service. I'm talking about everybody's drinks are filled. Everybody's got food. It's just done at a time. My wife's she was a hostess when she was doing it. She was the best one. But no one likes the tip. But it doesn't matter because each party you do is a different person. You can't bring in that negativity from the party from before into the next. So that's how waitresses and waitresses be. No matter what you're doing, you're having a bad day or whatever, I get that. But at your job, for each different group of people that you're helping or servicing, you got to give them a brand new face and a brand new attitude. You can't bring that shit over, because once you bring it over, now my food don't taste good all of a sudden. Now my drink ain't as crisp as it needs to be.
You're saying that you're capable of bringing a brand new Tony interaction?
Yes, to every party. I've done it.
Tony, when you were working at Chuck E. Cheese, like what were you like wearing the costume when you were doing these things?
I've worn it twice. When
he used to be Chucky a few times.
So you were actually like Charles Edward Cheese himself.
Yes,
the big man.
Now he's
big
skinny,
cheese, if you will.
Now he's skinny.
The Charles.
I don't know what
Senor
the D
Charles Edward
Senor
Queso.
Charles.
Senor Queso. That's what I'm gonna start calling him.
That's a respectable.
Or queso for the English speakers on the pod.
Just like that Caballo.
The Caballo. Yeah, that's what my brother, he was listening to the podcast and he was like, yo, what the fuck is wrong with Tony? Why does Tony introduce himself as he says, hey, I'm El Caballo? And then he goes, I'm here with one of my co-hosts, Mateo. He's like, wait, it sounds like you could talk Spanish. Why the fuck does he say his own name as El Caballo?
How would you say El Caballo?
El Caballo.
Nah, see, I don't like that.
So you like the English? You like that you don't? I don't speak Spanish.
He wants me to be El Caballo. Like, no.
Yeah, that's exactly.
El
Not that he
Caballo.
wants you. He's saying when he hears that, he goes, "Damn, Tony can't talk Spanish." And then he goes, "And I'm here con Mateo." And you're like, "Oh, okay,
Con
Tony."
Mateo.
Well, then why the fuck did he say that? Yeah, that was just funny.
El Caballo. Nah, I'm good. El Caballo is fine for me.
So yeah, I wish in this country that waiters and waitresses were paid fair wages, so that I don't have to supplement anybody's wages.
You know what's the
100%.
worst?
Tips make me circumnavigate even receiving certain services, like when I go to the airport, I don't utilize baggage service. Like I don't give my bags to people. I just carry my own bags because I don't want to tip people. Like I'm like, fuck it, I'll save my money. I could carry my own bags. So.
The worst thing is too where they slip in the fucking tips on the big party. Like they automatically slip in the tips, and at that point they'd be like the gratuity tip shit, and then they'll give you a space for an extra tip if you want to tip more. Like fuck out of here. I'm not gonna. I just gave you $20 in this gratuity tip that you did for the party. You want another 10, 15 more dollars? Like nah, everybody.
See, that one makes sense to me though, because like that gratuity tip is like 20%, which is the bare minimum that you should typically be tipping if you're getting specialized service. And when you have a party of like 20 dudes in a restaurant, you're definitely getting specialized service. You're distracting that woman or that person, that man, whatever, that service person so much from all the other tables that they're having to wait in their section.
You know, the whole 15-20%, the whole I'm not bought into this whole percentage as a tip thing. I think that's also fucking ridiculous. Like you're telling me that if 5 people go to a restaurant and they all order like a cheap ass burger and fries, and that, you know, racks up to like, I don't know, like $60, like they need to pay one amount. And then if I go and buy a big ass fat porterhouse steak with something and like a whiskey, that's also going to be like $70. That I need to pay the same amount of tip as, you know, a party of 5, that there's 5 drinks to fill, 5 orders to fill. Like that, to me, that just seems weird that price dictates how much a person deserves to get tipped.
I think it's got some kind of like some belief that, which is an interesting belief actually. It's got some kind of belief that like the wait staff at a higher end restaurant is more skilled than the wait staff at like a lower end restaurant, right?
Right.
Like, isn't there some amount of that built in? Because you know, a steak at Applebee's is going to cost you about $13. A steak at a steakhouse is going to cost you $60 minimum. Like,
right.
That
If you go to
makes
Ruth
sense,
Chris
though.
versus
Yeah, that makes sense because it's different.
Have you guys been to a little establishment called the Waffle House?
I went there once and I watched a man get stabbed, so I just decided never to return again.
What the fuck?
Waffle House would be popping up. You go to the Waffle House at 2 a.m., it's just gonna go down, all right? Like, there's drug deals happening, there's prostitutes selling themselves, you got stabbings, you know, you got the fucking the serving, the waiting staff selling drugs. It gets lit at the Waffle House.
Did he stab him because he didn't tip well? Was the waitress or the waiter the one?
The stab just occurred. I was minding my own business and then a stabbing happened.
Yo, that's insane.
This was 2006. I was in high school. Dude, yo, going out to restaurants back in the day was so fucking lit, yo. I grew up, you know, like we never went out to eat pretty much. Like I remember in New York City, we never went out to eat. Like we would occasionally like order like pizza or get like takeout like Chinese and shit like that, but we would never go out to eat. I remember when we moved to Florida, I don't remember what the fuck the event was, but we went to like a TGI Fridays, yo. And me and my brother were so fucking hyped. We were looking at the menu like in advance. We were trying to scope out. We were like, oh shit, we're gonna get them chicken tenders with fries, yo. The most fucking basic meal you could order, but it was just shit that we never really had before. You know what I mean? So it's just, I don't know. It's kind of interesting, like just the perspectives as you grow. All the interesting things become so basic, and I don't know. It's kind of sad.
It is sad.
It is.
You lose that.
Like that excitement that you had around going to the movies, going to a restaurant, that shit's just gone. That shit's just regular now. Like we need like a reset button. So like every experience is like that first time you took that hit of heroin. You know what I'm saying?
That's what made it.
We had a reset button, dude. The pandemic. I haven't been to a movie theater in over a year at this point.
I went to my first restaurant yesterday.
That's nice.
Was it lit?
Oh,
Did you see a man get stabbed?
I'm lying. I call it a restaurant. I took Leon. We took Leon to like this little splash pad. It's like you know there's water fountains just shooting out of the ground like a water, like it's kind of like a water park, but it's just in a little. There's a regular ass park, and then we just stopped at some place. Lisi wanted ice cream, and so we went to this ice cream shop, and Lisi got
See,
an ice cream. I bought a boba tea.
Ugh.
First time I had a boba tea, shit was no, it wasn't even a boba tea because it was a mango strawberry tea with passion fruit poppers. So it wasn't
Pucha,
even a tapioca bubble.
there's a lot of twists in this story. Like you got a boba tea, but it wasn't really a boba tea. You went to a restaurant, but it was actually just a splash pad
an
and
ice
ice
cream
cream.
shop that sold the boba tea. Went to a water park, but it wasn't a water park. It was just a regular ass park with a splash pad.
It was just a hose in my yard that I forgot to turn off.
Splash pad. That sounds like what happens when you put Bengay in abanico. It's just a fucking splash pad.
The splash zone.
I thought a splash pad was what we put under Doughy, so that way he doesn't have to get up to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes.
A bucket. Just a 5-gallon
So
bucket.
that's a puppy pad, man.
Ah.
You got just your pads fucked up.
Y'all just disrespecting my boy Doughboy's bladder like that.
Wow.
So Tony,
Rock
so
out.
Tony doesn't tip though, huh?
No, Tony don't tip.
I give
He's
my
like, yo,
wife
you
the
suck at your
tips.
job, I'm not tipping you. You're likely to get fired. You're likely getting paid less, and I'm gonna intentionally pay you less.
I know. I
The
tip.
whole concept behind tipping is so fucking it almost exists to say that you're better than someone. It's how, at least maybe not why it exists, but it's like the way that people utilize it. Because like I just straight up blanket tip people. I think there might have been a few times in my life where I'm just like, man, this fucking waiter, waitress, they sucked. I'm not tipping them. But I was like 17 years old. You know what I'm saying?
That's a lot.
I'm like past that in my life, like where I'm so fucking, my head is so far up my ass where I feel like I'm gonna like determine who gets to eat based off of my whims.
You was much older when you didn't want to tip somebody.
Excuse me?
You was much older because you said the last time I did that I was like 16 where I didn't want to tip somebody because of bad service. I was like, nah, you was much older because when we went to that Denny's, you, me, and Brian, I think Ever was there.
Nope.
And
I was not there that day. That
You
was
wasn't
your
there?
story. Nope.
Damn.
You, Brian, and Everett went to a Denny's.
Oh,
and
man.
The waitress there gave you a horrible service, mad attitude, and even gave somebody like a raw egg or like raw chicken or something. I was not present for that.
Creeps.
She didn't give you. Oh, word, yeah. I didn't get my sausage and I didn't get my toast.
Yeah, I didn't get
want
my sausage or my toast.
Give me my toast. That's the fuck. I'm so glad you brought up the creeps.
That shit is.
By the way, for the English speakers, a creep is short for a ripio. A ripio is a penis, and then we're now aligning that with a wiener and saying that it's a sausage. So Tony didn't get his sausage.
Yeah.
He needed sausage and toast. We're calling the sausage a ripio, and then we're shortening the ripio and just calling it a reap.
A creep?
Which is also what I call Reaper from Overwatch. My dog Reap.
But no, yeah, so she was just, it was bad service. She came up, didn't write any of the orders. And Brian was like, yo, do you want to write this down? It's kind of a big order. You might, nah, I'm good. I've been doing this for a minute. And she might have been from New York because as soon as she felt Brian's essence of New York, she was like, oh, you from New York or something. She was just talking. I'm just looking at her like, yo, she better not fuck up my order because how I eat eggs, I need my toast. So I can make sandwiches. I make sandwiches almost out of all my fucking meals.
And I need my toast.
And then the creep was an extra order because I was like, I don't really want creep, but I'll take it to put it in with the sandwich or my eggs. Bitch, the bitch didn't even bring me my toast nor my creeps. I was tight. And Brian and Evers there laughing. Tony's tight because he ain't get the creeps. He didn't. I'm just like, yo, I just want the sausages, my nigga. Like, that's part of my meal. Let me get my fucking. And then, yeah, it was just terrible.
That's when the reap talk went to another level, in fact.
Yeah.
They say, Tony loves pile de reeps.
And at first, it's crazy. Like at first, I didn't know that they were that ripio means dick, right? At first, I didn't know that. So when they were like, Tony wants rips, I'm like, yeah, nigga, I want all the rips that I ordered, this and that, right? And they're just laughing, and I'm just like, yo. So when we got back to the crib, I'm like, yo, what is rip? They go, that's dick. I'm like, wow. So y'all were just putting this ripio talk on me. I'm here thinking it's sausages, but whatever. But no, yeah, I didn't tip her at all. If you got a bad service, I'm not tipping it. I can't. I just keep my drinks fresh, keep it coming, and just check it. And there's also too much service, right? the constant coming back. Hey, do you need anything? Hey, do you need? Nah, you just asked 2 minutes ago. I'm still good. Hey, like there is a level between that too. So,
Man, that is so much effort to put onto someone that's making minimum wage, though, to try to like I don't know. It's a lot of burden that you're putting on someone that's not making a lot of money, that's trying to just make that extra little bit to make their living. I agree with Buchel. Philosophically, I don't agree with tipping because I think that their employers should just pay them a livable wage. One of my favorite bars here in Austin is the Black Star Co-op, and it's a co-op, so there's no tipping at that bar. Beers are a little bit more expensive, food's a little bit more expensive, but the staff is all making a livable wage for Austin. They can actually afford their shit without having to work for Favor or like DoorDash or something on the side and
Yeah,
supplement their
that's
income.
nuts.
yeah,
That's
nah,
nuts. That's
that-
actually awesome.
And it'd be nice if everything like was like that, if people were just making enough to live.
No, yeah. I mean, I think people need to get paid good. You know what I mean? But it also fucks up the economy because now they're going to raise the prices on a lot of other shit. Like,
I mean,
Yeah,
the
I think there's
prices of
like the
things.
two. The Go ahead though, because I'm gonna go on the
I'm-
whole shit.
I mean, that happened even with COVID. Like, do y'all pay the same amount for groceries, or has groceries gone up for you guys?
milk's gone
I
up
feel
a
like
little bit.
my cost of living has gone down under the pandemic, but
I'm just saying groceries.
sure, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I gotta ask my wife because
Groceries.
she does the fucking phone app grocery game. So
But they
Yeah,
charge
so-
you
yeah,
more
well, I get
during
my
the
shit
phone.
delivered to my house. So I have not been places since the pandemic started.
Yeah,
DC just goes on the website. She goes on Walmart, boop, 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 and we get like maybe 40% of what we order. You'd be like, yo, I want Planters peanuts. They're like, yo, got substitute. You got Walmart brand. We're like, damn. Everything gets substituted, but you know, it's a.
'Cause they don't
But I
wanna
was
go
gonna
look
say
for
though,
it.
there's a very deep philosophical conversation between what Tony and Mateo just said, which is Mateo said he thinks that everybody should just, it would be nice if everybody got a living wage, and Tony said, yeah, it'd be shitty because all the prices would go up.
Well,
And yeah, those are like the two trains. What was that? I'm sorry.
not wasn't really trying to say it like that because you made it seem like let's not keep them. Like if I'm saying let's not give them too much money because then my like cost of living will go up. I'm not saying that. I'm saying pay everybody, but there's a problem that comes with that because then now they're going to raise everything else up. Like so, I'm still down with everybody getting paid, but just know that they're going to raise milk, this or whatever. Like,
Yeah. That type of benefit is going to come with some detriment as well. There's some good that's going to come with that.
But does it though? Does it actually have to come with that increase, or is it just the people up top have this set amount of money they're used to making, and they're not willing to cut into their own personal profits for the betterment of the many? It's a moral philosophy question a little bit in a way too. It's a financial theory which I am not. That's not my wheelhouse. So I don't know if maybe I'm just grandstanding here on some shit that doesn't even matter.
maybe.
No. I mean, it definitely matters. Like we're talking about people having the agency to make a life for themselves and make decisions, because now any job they get is going to provide them with some, a standard of living. Like for example, I know a couple of people that won't leave a job that they want to leave because that job is coupled with the health insurance that they depend on, or that they have some flexibility with their child and that job, like whatever situation they got with their kid, that job allows them to have some flexibility with their kid. And if they went and got another job, they might not have that flexibility. Like, and it's like, it's a very unfortunate situation that people are stuck working certain jobs because it does provide some benefit to their life. And it'd be nice if that benefit was decoupled from where you worked. You know what I mean?
So
And what I was just going to say about the trains of thought is there's the train of thought of like employers should provide people a living wage, and there's also a train of thought where what we have right now is fine only if the government were to supplement everybody's wages, and it would produce different things, right? Like if you put it all on the employer side, then it's more likely that if all things staying the same, that the cost of goods would go up. because the employers would be like, well, I still want the same cut that I had before. If I got to pay everybody extra, then I need to raise the prices in order to keep eating the same way. Whereas if the government was supplementing, it would have different effects, but it probably wouldn't affect the goods in the same manner. There'll be certain goods that'll go up because people are like, oh, well, if people got more money on their hands, they could spend more money. It would be more of like a supply and demand type of thing. At
that PS5 is going to be $700 next time, is what he's saying.
I'll pay it.
But give me that UBI. I want that UBI, dude.
Yeah.
But it also goes to like when people are saying they can't afford shit or because the money's not up. So then how hard is it for people who are less fortunate with the income to have a kid? Isn't that like a burden for them in a way? Like saying like, oh, I don't have enough money to have a kid, but anyways have one. Especially if your job sucks, if you're a waitress or a waiter or something that's not giving you enough money. Like
kids are fucking expensive, man.
Kids are incredibly expensive. I would assume that most people that are in a situation where they have concerns about their ability to raise a kid from a financial aspect, a lot of those children that happen are not planned. I would assume that that statistically there's less percentage of planned pregnancies if you're in a situation of financial burden.
Like my child was a planned thing.
Yeah.
Like me and them.
All right.
No.
My kid is
sound
planned,
like
okay,
that. I
Mateo?
didn't even
No,
sound
no.
like that. Like
I know, just-
we planned our son pretty much because I mean we could have had him like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, sure, but where we were at, we're still not even there mentally or like money wise. I don't think I was ready. And you can never be too ready. You know what I mean? Like it's a kid. You're having a kid. You're bringing a kid to life, but
well, that's the advantage of planning your child, right? Because like I would think that most people's philosophy with their children is they want their children to be better than they are. They want them to have more than they had. They want them to thrive in a way that they may not have been able to thrive when they were a child. So that's the advantage of planning your children, right? Like that's the benefit of that approach. But unplanned pregnancies happen, especially in lower income people that don't have access to healthcare and can't get on birth control and maybe can't afford condoms or diaphragms or all the various methods we have for trying to prevent pregnancies. And there's a lack of sexual education in a lot of these lower income neighborhoods. I mean, shit, you look at Alabama, I'm pretty sure that their sexual education is still abstinence based. Or
that's the main issue, believe it or not. It's just the sex ed. I know growing up, I didn't really have sex. We had like sex ed day I think we had one
school.
day in elementary school, maybe one. I don't remember ever having a sex ed day in junior high. And I remember there being like a sex ed day in high school. Like I feel like I remember happening, but I don't remember the content. And it's just a matter of them not pumping the resources. Also, we live in I went to high school in Florida, which is historically a swing state, but mostly red. And typically, conservatives are more on the side of abstinence based and not Planned Parenthood and not sex ed and things like that. So.
I think that my sex education class, like it was a part of our health class, which is always taught by coaches. Like all our health classes are always taught by coaches, and they look so uncomfortable, like in their little their sport clothes, their little shorts, like trying to teach health classes.
Yeah. They got their windbreaker on. They're ready to rip it off to hop on the court. And
he's still got his whistle on for some reason. He doesn't know why. But no, like I think our entire sex education class just focused on STDs and abstinence. And like that's what you get for sex education texts. I hope it's better now. And I think Alabama is honestly like the same kind of program, except they probably have some kind of like extra bit of like how deep into the family tree your cousin has to be before you can sleep with them, because
that's terrible. I'm pretty sure we put a condom on a banana. If my memory serves me right.
I remember the lady who did our thing. She put the condom on her foot to say that because someone made a comment. Dope, I think he was in that class with me because somebody made a comment about, oh, I need a bigger condom, da 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 da, because my shit's so big. And she was like, let me show you something. She put her foot on the desk and slammed the condom down her foot, like, your dick is nowhere bigger than this. Da, 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 da. I was just like, bueno, that's a good condom.
That's a fact. That just goes to show how stupid whoever that person was, that they just don't know shit. And that person might be, they might have been like, I shouldn't say stupid, maybe just ignorant to how this stuff works. That they probably would have the mentality of, yo, my dick's too big to put that condom on, so I'm just not going to put it on. And that might result in an unplanned pregnancy or an exchange of some STD or some shit like that.
Do you think parenting?
Yeah,
has to go?
Sorry, what was that?
You think parenting is also a big key in this shit? Because it's like, if you got a child that's in high school or someone who's still young, right, and it's not really planned and they're just having sex, do you think it goes back to the parents? Maybe the parents ain't telling them or this and that, or the kid can just be an asshole and not want to listen or take advice because they just think, you know what I mean? So
it's probably a combination of many things, but I think Mateo already touched on this specifically, which is
the education.
A lot of people who try to plan their pregnancies, there's an attempt to have a kid in such a way where your kid should end up in a better life situation than you were in. And unplanned pregnancies and things like that tend to result in, well, no, I shouldn't say it tends to result in anything, but just people that are not necessarily planning things out. Just I'm talking out of my ass at this point, but I would imagine that it results in similar life situation that you're in. Is that if you don't have the financial backing that you had and things like that, that you're probably not going to be able to totally support this kid to a level that they're going to be able to get like a college education and all the things in life that you would want for your kid or whatever.
I mean, so we live in a society that there's a stigma associated if you have an unplanned pregnancy and you want to get an abortion or something. There's a stigma associated with that. I mean, there's so many states are still trying to make that shit illegal, which is craziness to me, because the other side of the stigma is then once these pregnant teenage mothers or whoever, like these mothers have these children, then there's this stigma against like, oh, that person's using the system to help them raise their kid. They must not be a very good person. They must not be a good mother, that they have to get food stamps and they have to be on welfare and they have to use these social programs to assist them in raising these kids.
I think in my opinion, that mostly comes from racist people. I know it's a lot of people have that in sentiment, and maybe the people that I've heard it from aren't racist, but I think like the underlining tones are like, I think sometimes, especially, this has nothing to do with America, but when my family was in Cuba, basically the only way to get more food was to have more kids, and that's it. My grandfather was like, okay, you're gonna have a baseball team.
That shit don't really make sense because you're saying that you get more food when you have more kids, more mouth to feed. So you're really not fixing the situation.
You're talking about a communist country.
Yeah,
it's also
the government's handing out. There's a series of handouts. Not saying that the handouts are adequate. It's just that if all you're getting is what the government gives you, if you have more bodies to feed, you're gonna get more stuff.
And kids eat less. So I'm assuming you're getting a full ration regardless of the age of that child or whatever. Mm-hmm. So I don't know like Cuba specifically.
I mean, it's similar. It's similar to America right now. Like
it is.
When I was growing up, like we were having big ass cans of like juicy juice on the like the food stamp shit, like fucking the King vitamin cereal and the fake Frosted Flakes with the polar bear and shit like that. Like you get a lot of that type of shit and you're it's shit that you wouldn't have had otherwise in the house. And maybe it doesn't necessarily amount to more, but maybe you get a couple more bowls of cereal than you would have had otherwise. You know what I'm saying? And your kids ain't gonna eat. Maybe they're not gonna eat that whole box of cereal. I mean, we were some fucking cereal killers in my career. We was filling up fucking like we were grabbing like them cake mixing bowls. I know Sally be mixing cakes. We used to grab them big ass shits and just dump a whole, like Craig from Friday, a whole thing of cereal.
There was
And
one
then all the
time-
milk, and then you grab a big ass spatula and try to eat your fucking cereal like that. We were fucking savages. I don't know how my mom didn't kill us as kids. We were just fucking depleting all her shit. Like,
were you doing name brand cereal, or were you doing like multi-meal like knockoff cereal? Like instead of like Honey Nut Cheerios, was it like Honey O's?
no,
Or, like,
absolutely.
Honey
That's
Rings?
what I was saying. Like the fake Captain Crunch was the King Vitamin shit. And the we had a fake Frosted Flakes. It was the dude with it was like a polar bear. And there's a lot of other, I say fake, but it was like like welfare brand shit. And then to Tony's, sorry, because I wanted to respond to Doey shit, but Doey said that the sentiment that like kind of looking down on the welfare people, a lot of that comes from like racist people. While I don't disagree, like what was it, like in the 70s, maybe the 80s, there's like this concept of the welfare queen, which is a black woman that had a lot of kids. They kicked their husband out the crib to get on welfare type of shit. And that was just a straight up racist stereotype that was perpetuated by the people in power at the time, which was predominantly white people. But all that being said, a lot of the welfare shit happens right in the hood. There'd be people growing up in the hood that are on welfare and people that ain't on welfare. And the people that aren't on welfare, they'll go to your crib and they'll shit on you for having the King Vitamin. They'll shit on you for having the polar bear cereal. And so, like, while a lot of it probably ultimately does stem from racist people, that it's like just trickling down. A lot of what the poor people feel in the moment, it's like when people talk about racist people, right? Like when right against like black and Hispanic and brown people, like you're mainly thinking of like white people when people talk about those things. But when I tell you that I didn't even see a white person that wasn't a teacher until I was like 12 years old or something, you know what I'm saying? Like I didn't grow up with any white people, so I never experienced like racism from white people. Like what I experienced was other people that had a slightly better social standing than I did, that were trying to put us down for being poorer than them. That's what I mainly experienced, you know?
I was just talking about a similar thing yesterday. You know who hates like quote unquote illegal immigrants from Mexico just as much as the white people? Legal Mexicans that live in the United States. Brown people hate brown people almost as much as white people.
I've never heard of this.
And no, Cubans,
you've never heard of this? The Cubans,
Mexicans that are legal hate the illegal Mexicans.
Yes, I got a couple Trump supporting Mexicans on retainer talking about build that motherfucking wall because we want to keep the illegals out. I know those people. They
forget that 2 generations ago, their grandpa came, their great grandpa came in this country, and you know he might have illegally immigrated, he might have like actually legally immigrated, but he's, I don't know, man. The whole concept of illegal immigrants in general.
I know people remove the generations. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about illegal people themselves that love Donald Trump.
Yeah, shout out to the producer of our One Up podcast. She said it's raining a lot here. Make sure you save your work and prepare for power outages. Also, fuck bitches, get money. Our producer is live, bro.
Shout out to Lisi.
Shout out to Lisi, our producer. She's always in the background.
Bitches get money. All right. A woman said it. It wasn't me. They're taking back the B word, right? And Tony, earlier, you referred to a woman as a bitch. I don't like that.
What did I say that?
Yeah, it was earlier. I wanted to call it out, but it was in the middle of a thing. You know what I'm
your
saying?
server,
like my man, the baby said. I don't mean to disrespect. I just talk different. That's it.
Yeah, fuck the baby. The baby ain't paying no motherfucking bills.
Hey,
yo, the baby has said
my baby
some very messed up things.
So
who?
The baby,
even he said some messed up shit. Oh, we'll save that for the next.
Yeah. So back to the initial question though. What was the actual question, Tony? Was it should poor people have kids, or what do we think of poor people having kids? Because like if it was should, the answer is yes. Like without a doubt, I don't.
Should
I think that,
poor people have kids?
I think once you get into a should question,
sorry. because I guess I want to move the question more because I kind of saw this creep up on Twitter the other day too. So it's interesting that Tony brings this up. But it's not so much poor people. It was more focused on should people that can't afford. And I say afford in quotes because if you could ask anybody who has to raise a kid, ain't no shit of how fully prepared you could be to have a child. Like kids are gonna cost some amount of money, and depending on goddamn, yeah, it's raining up in this bitch. Depending on how much money you make and all of that, it just means that you're gonna spend more on your kid.
That's fair because like not it was in poor people. It's people who can't afford to have.
Well, I say
kids.
afford in quotes because ultimately kids are gonna take some proportion of your money no matter how much you make.
Yeah. So the answer for me is still yes,
right.
Because it's hypocrisy otherwise, especially if this popped up in a leftist argument of should people that can't afford to have kids have kids. My body, my choice. It means that woman can make that choice of whether to have a kid or not. It might be a poor financial decision, but we can't outlaw poor financial decisions. That's why people are still over there selling that what is that vitamin shit that Tony was in love with for a little while.
Herbalife. So I'm gonna push back just a little. Well, go ahead because you're gonna. I want to hear this Herbalife shit.
I was not in love with Herbalife. When that shit first started, I should have jumped on it because these niggas is making bread. When that shit
it's a pyramid scheme.
It is a pyramid scheme, but I'm saying I could have been at the top of the scheme by now and then jumped out once I made my money.
That's what the pyramid scheme makes you think you could be.
Watch this section of videos.
Yo, one of my family I grew up with, she hit me up. Like, she's like, yo, I love the way you think. Yo, watch this succession of videos, and I think you could. I think if it clicked for me, I think it could click for you too. I was like, oh hell no, this sounds like you trying to indoctrinate me into some Scientology
it's funny
ass
too,
shit.
Because I asked Mike, R.I.P. to Mike, Doughboy's brother or Dough's brother. I asked him, I was like, yo, did you ever heard about this shit? He was like, bro, it's a fucking pyramid scheme. Don't trust those bastards. I'm like, what a patata? And I didn't do it. And then I found out what a pyramid scheme was and all this back in the days. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing that shit. But in all honesty, when I took Herbalife, that shit kind of worked. It supplemented my food and I lost quite a few pounds as a buyer. But I stopped buying. That shit's overly priced, and I can find other ways of supplementing without paying that ridiculous price.
That was the tapeworms that were in those pills, Tony.
If tapeworms help me lose weight, I'm all about pro tape.
It's basically skipping a meal. So, if you ate one less meal a day, most likely you'd lose weight.
So you saying Herbalife is just water?
No, it's like nutrients and stuff like that.
So like water and vitamins?
The real pyramid scheme is what Tony picked on the end. Like these products are although you get them at warehouse prices and depending on how much bulk you buy, you get a cheaper price. That just basically people buy huge bulks and then you have to keep maintaining that. And then people just get themselves in debt because they can't sell it fast enough or what they're selling it at isn't enough to they can't make enough. I know some people who own gyms that run a Herbalife center in the gym, and that makes it profitable for them. You know what I mean? Because you can get them hooked. You give them a free shake once, twice, and then they're like, I want that shake.
That's the drug dealer method right there.
Yeah, it sounds like it's habit forming.
All that shit comes back to the game. All of that shit.
So sorry, because I did want to push back on something. I'm trying to remember exactly what Mateo said, but
I said it was about the women's right to choose.
Right. My body, my choice, and all that. Right. So I don't think we're saying. So should is an interesting word because it could do a lot in different contexts and conversations. So I don't think the conversation was should the government mandate something in place where it would halt people from being able to have kids. Like it's not a can someone or may someone do a thing. It's just is it morally right? Like would your advice to a person who can't afford a kid be to have a kid?
See, that's the thing about the word should. Should is a utility word. It's such a heavy utility word, and it implies a moral conundrum. It implies a moral decision.
It does a lot of work. So I think the conversation around not so much whether you should put any type of government like level restrictions on poor people, that if you make this amount you're not allowed to have a kid, or some China shit where it's like you could only have one kid or two kids, right? Nothing like that. It's just saying like, would your advice to a person that can't afford, and for the audio people, I'm making big quotes right now, afford in quotes, should they have it, or yeah, would your advice to them be to go ahead and have a kid?
Do we want to go around the circle and answer that specific? Because I like
Yeah,
that question. I think that's a good question.
Doe first. He's in the top left, right?
I think from a person, I mean, I don't think my mom knew she was going to be a single mother, but I think me and my brother we're worth it at the end of the day. Like I think like yeah, even if you could foresee an outcome where you're probably going to be in a
Oh
bad
no.
spot, I think kids can change a lot of things for people, whether it be outlook on life and like what's important and legacy and stuff like that. I think poor people should still be able to look forward for the next generation. I think it's super important, and I think a lot of people don't think about it as much anymore. But like continuing your family's legacy and that generational wealth, I think it's all built on this aspect of like needing to have children every generation. Like it's important. I think it's important. Like,
So
even if you're
everybody
poor,
should have kids. Every living born person should have at least an
at
offspring to
least.
continue their line. That's what
Yeah.
you're saying. Okay.
Tony,
Tony, you top
I
right, baby.
I do not think that all right, so certain right. I think everybody should have a kid, right? I kind of agree with Doughboy. I do think age plays a part of this. If you're so unplanned pregnancy, right? Like if you're under the age of 18, I think it's a little bit more touchy because now if you're under age 18, you're not really an adult yet mentally, I would say. And also I can't even make that judgment for that person because everybody's different, right? But just me, my thinking, my process is if you're under the age of 18, the parent of that child, if they're present or not, that's a conversation they need to have. Like, yo, this is something serious. This is not, your life is gonna change. You're not gonna be able to do what all your friends who don't have kids do. You're not gonna, your priorities are gonna change and stuff. And my mother had me when she was, I think, still in high school, I believe. If not, I was unplanned. And my dad was there, and they had their differences, and they were still together or whatever. But there is a fine line between having a kid too young and having a kid that's unplanned, right? There's a line there that I think should be checked. I don't think kids should be having kids. That's just me personally, but because that's harder on that child's development in life and society to get a job, to focus on things, especially if your parents are not involved as what.
Would you do some type of like forced birth control to prevent this? Or just out of curiosity?
No,
Okay. Keep going. I was just curious.
Yeah, I wouldn't force that on anybody, even if
not to force you into any like stupid, crazy arguments. It's just something as you're talking.
I don't think you should force anybody to take anything they don't want to take.
I think classes should be held in school about the use of birth control and how these things can either affect you negatively, affect you positively, and whether it's the right decision for you. I think these things really need to be talked about.
In general, birth control helps a lot of females out because it, like, for example, for my wife, it helped her out because it gave her, her period at its exact time. And some people do get sick from it, I guess, too, or like some people don't even take birth control for the pregnancy. They just take it because it helps out with their, their bodily issues that they're having.
Side topic. The second that they release that male birth control where you just get like the needle, like an injection into like your junk that like kills sperm the second they're exiting your body, it's a thing that they've been testing. It's like this little like a gel, like a permanent gel that's it's not permanent. You can get it reversed. The gel they put in, and it's supposed to kill the sperm as they get ejaculated.
That shit is fire.
Second that's a thing, 100% on board. 100% on board.
Me and my wife were recently talking about this because we already have a kid, and we were talking about like, all right, maybe we would want to have like one more kid 2 more kids would be like the worst thing that we could ever do, right? Like we're hoping that we're 2 and done type of shit. And then it was like, she's like, okay, so when would I get my tubes tied or blah blah blah? And I was like, all right, baby, but like, we could investigate other options. Like I could get a vasectomy, or if there's like other options on the table. The
say you could pull out.
I have been a master.
And that just means
we got to send Tony back to these sex education classes.
Yes, Tony, go back. All right, sex ed people, we do not condone of Tony's methods. Step 1,
you guys haven't fucked your girl.
Step 2, wear your condoms for STDs and blah blah blah. Step 3, get to know the person and try not to have sex with people otherwise. If blah 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 blah. No. All the abstinence shit. Also, utilize your birth control. Utilize your Plan B. Utilize your condoms. Utilize your abortions and things such of that nature.
Anal sex only. You can't have babies. You have anal sex only.
Fan sex works. Nobody has ever been born from Bengay and an Abanico. Okay,
that's 100% true. That's also, probably the best advice. That's probably the best advice we've ever given on this podcast.
I was talking from a point of me knowing being with my girl for 10 years. So I'm not talking about some chick at a bar.
Wow, I already told you that word triggers me, Tony. Please.
All right, some chick at a bar, and.
Some people don't like chick either. I think it's fine. But,
you want me to say bitch? I'll bring back Lake Worth shit. Bitch?
No. I'm not telling you to change your language like that.
Either way, I'm just saying like
I know people that don't like the word chick.
A woman or a guy.
I feel like it's not bad, but I guess I'm not a woman, so I don't feel like the pain.
What's the definition of a bitch? The word bitch.
It's a female dog.
A wet female dog, right?
I don't think it's wet.
I think it's wet.
I like the word dude. Like as they said in the incredibly important movie Good Burger, I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude, we're all dudes.
You can't put a gender on.
Yo, I'll tell you this much, yo. I was a fat. I'm still a fat dude, all right. But I was a fat little motherfucker, and I wanted nothing more than those genetically injected Mondo burgers. Them shits were big. That was a fat ass burger for a fat ass weekend. That shit looked like it would put your ass to sleep. I wanted that shit, all right? Mondo burger, fuck a Good Burger. I wanted a Mondo burger. Shout out to Good Burger though, because I did want some of that Ed secret sauce. I'd do a Mondo burger with the Ed sauce. But ain't nobody trying to eat them puny ass, little thin, no booty ass having burgers. I wanted that Mondo shit, all right? That Mondo shit was gonna grow your thing, and it was gonna make all them shorties with them thang. It was gonna make them things thang.
Honestly,
right?
I
wanted all that shit. The Mondo burgers, that shit was that genetic shit, baby.
I didn't want the Mondo
jeans are
burger.
good. Everybody got jeans. You can't say jeans are bad.
I didn't want the Mondo burger at all. I just wanted that serum that they put in the Mondo burger.
Tony wanted to inject that serum into his dick. He wanted that Mondo dick.
He saw that foot condom demonstration. He knew he could still.
It's like I want a cock that would be too big for any condom. Like if the condom break when I put it on my dick, then it ain't big enough. I need that Mondo and serum.
Put that shit on my knee or my legs to get taller so I can play basketball and do something. I'm using that for hair growth. I ain't trying to go bald. I'm trying to using that shit. That's what I'm saying.
You think that Mondo shit works like that?
Look at this attacking a cat.
Movie magic.
Look at this cat.
It's an abuse.
Watch, he's gonna hit this cat, and we're gonna get canceled for animal.
Yo, do you see the cats? Do you see the cats attack for me or defense?
That happened to a streamer. I forgot who her name was. Something happened where
threw the cat across the room.
She threw a cat and there was something where the cat like went up her ass or like in her crotch, and they were trying to say like some animal sex shit. They're like, oh look, they're going into it was some bullshit.
Peanut butter.
Internet be getting crazy.
I think she did visibly hurt the cat when she threw it. Like I think that one was like a legit like concern.
That cat's not hurt.
So we were going around the room. Mateo didn't go, but he kind of went. He kind of went first and then told the room to go. But go ahead again.
Yeah, I like that phrase in the question more. I think if this were the way I'm going to approach this is if this were like a person that approached me and actually asked for advice in this situation, I don't know why they would be asking me because this is not my area of expertise. This is not something I feel super qualified to give advice on. But my advice for someone that felt they could not afford to have a child, but they were pregnant, would be for them to look into alternate methods, whether that's giving that child up for adoption, whether that's getting an abortion if that's something they were comfortable with. Like, I don't think that they are necessarily in the best position to raise that child themselves.
Yeah,
is what it is the scenario that's being presented, at least. So I don't think that everyone has to have a child. I don't think that I agree with that passing of the legacy necessarily.
yeah.
Granted, my advice would be coming from someone that I've got 13 nieces and nephews. 12 of those are by blood. 9 of those are from one sibling. She is one of those people that got pregnant at 15, like y'all said, and was convinced to keep the child by my parents, or maybe she wanted to keep the child. It was a long time ago. I forget at this point. But yeah, so I've seen what can happen when a child is brought into the world and that their parent is not financially stable enough or mentally stable enough or emotionally stable enough, or all three.
They're just prepared in general, right?
Yeah, to give that child a good life. So I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing in that situation to get an abortion or to give your child up for adoption or look into alternate means than raising that child. I think that it's a complicated thing. I think it's a tough thing. I think one of the hardest things you can do in your life is to raise a child. I'm not even sure that that's a burden I want to take on. I'm really liking the idea of like doing this dink life of double income, no kids, and just partying, just partying.
I got friends like that, man. They just making guap. They buying cribs, all type of. They're set to retire any day now. They don't got no expenses, dude. I was out here paying $270 a week in daycare for my kid.
Shit's pricey, man.
And again, that just goes to show that, like, yeah, I might make a little bit more money than your average person. Then what ends up happening is when you have a kid, you end up spending that extra money anyways. Because I'm like, well, I could afford a better daycare, right? And there's $270 a week. It's like, fuck. It's like, I ain't got I don't live out here, so I can't just like hand the kid to my mama. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the flip side is, I don't think there's anything wrong if they choose to have that child and they do have to use any of the social programs to assist with raising that child.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that.
As we've all said, like, it takes a village, and the United States, it should be thought of as a big ass village. Like, we should all take care of each other. People should have health care. There should not be people starving in what is supposed to be the best country in the world. Like,
greatest country.
The greatest country. We made it great again or something, didn't we?
Yeah.
But yeah, so these I don't think there's anything wrong with choosing to have a child in that situation. But my personal advice would be, if you feel like you're not going to be able to better that child's life than the life you had, if you're not able to match or better that, then maybe look into other options.
The problem that comes in with the welfare shit is that there are people out there that take advantage of it.
It's so small. It's such a small percentage.
I'm not saying let's take it away. I'm just saying
it's like trans people in sports. The number of trans people that are in sports is like less than a fraction of a percent, and then people focus on that to argue against.
No, yeah, to argue against it. Yeah, I'm not arguing against it.
Tony, you're a gun owner. You're a gun owner. You're a guns rights person. This is basically us saying that all guns should go away because some percentage of gun owners go out and shoot people and do mass shootings. And then your response is going to be like, yeah, but that's such a tiny percentage of people that are actually doing that. That's our same thing about.
I'm not going to say that at all. I'm not going to say that.
So you think we should take all guns away?
I'm also definitely not saying that. I'm saying that in this world, if let's say everybody had a gun, everybody knows that everybody has a gun, you're less inclined.
Yeah, I just got into a Facebook thing. So one of my friends was like, yo, what level of freedom do you want? That just said, this is the level of freedom I want. And it was a woman sitting on a bus with an AK-47 sticking out of her purse. That's the level of freedom I want. And I just thought it was funny because I was like, yo, imagine the world. All right, boom. Everybody's sitting on the bus. This is a not super gendered.
And it doesn't have to be assault rifles. It could be a pistol.
Yeah, I like the AK. The AK is funnier. We're not. We're on our Quavo shit. We're on our Lil Nas X and our Playboy Cardi shit. Everybody on this motherfucking bus got a purse. All right. We ain't judging people. We ain't judging dudes for having purses. We like women with purses. But everybody got a purse, and they got an AK-47 sticking out this goddamn purse.
Got a Drake,
and then some mass shooter walks on the bus, and he's like, "Gat, gat, gat," and he just starts clapping people, bah, 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 bah. And then everybody got guns. So people start standing up. They start clapping the mass shooter. What happens to people on the back of the bus? They just see people shooting guns. They're like, oh shit. They start whipping out their guns and they're like, yo, let's shoot these motherfuckers that are just shooting these innocent people walking on the bus. Blah, blah, blah. They start shooting them. And then next thing you know, it looks like some Kingsman shit. Everybody's shooting everybody on the bus.
And then the cops show up.
What was that?
Then the cops show up and they just shoot everybody.
Yeah.
At that point, we don't need cops.
Except the white dudes that get handcuffed, and they just had a bad day.
Yeah,
He just had such a bad day that and then this happens.
Let's buy him some Burger King.
I'm just saying, in Florida, a lot there's a high number of people that actually own a gun through correct procedures and have their concealed carry, and I think that the unknowing, right? Like if I'm in here to rob somebody, you got to understand, okay, the cops ain't here yet, but fuck, maybe 80% of people might have the guns, might have a gun on them in here. It's like, what do I do now? It's got to be a thought process.
I think that tends to be a white male power fantasy. Is that gunslinging? I'm gonna save the day because I got my gun here and I'm gonna take down this active shooter. I think it tends to be a white male power fantasy. To be perfectly honest. I also think the guns is one of the. I think it's interesting because I think it's one of the only things where there is some legitimate concerns and issues, and it's one of the only problems that people.
What do you mean the only? Sorry, what do you mean the only? As opposed to what are other things? Sorry.
No. I think it's one of the only things that has a potential problem that people propose solving that problem by more of that problem. The solution to gun violence is more guns. We give everybody guns. It'd be like if a building was burning down,
and you're like,
Tony. And you're like,
no, I disagree with that.
No, sure, but a lot of people are like, yo, there's a bunch of murders in Chicago. If we just gave everybody in Chicago a gun, guess what? Them people out there murdering people, they'll think twice about murdering someone because they'll get murdered themselves.
It'd be your apartment's burning down. It's like the firefighters show up and they're like, more fire. That's how we put out this fire. We burn it down faster. It can't burn down the other buildings, and we burn it down faster.
I enjoy the irony, but I don't think that's analogous. But yeah, I love it. Just stepping away from this whole
tangent,
this gun tangent. Just to give my answer, I'm the last guy. I'm the bottom right guy. The bottom
feeder.
The rightest and the bottomest. I'm the most
anchor.
The anchor of the podcast. Oh, I love that.
Some would say anchor is bringing everybody down. That's a negative.
I'm holding everybody up.
No, anchor's not holding them. Go ahead with your.
I'm holding you in place, baby. If I let you go, you're gonna drift off into
let me drift off and do my thing.
It could be holding you back, but it could be holding you right in the perfect place.
Yeah,
I could be holding you right at home where you need to be. What do your mama always tell you, Tony? Don't go out in them streets, Tony. Antonio, no vaya para la calle, no. Venga para la calle,
she was holding me back
Antonio.
for my potential.
No, they're keeping you home. Nigga. Ain't nobody ever got shot in their house like that. It's just rare.
Okay, you seen it drop
Shit
by?
is rare. Shit is rare.
That happened.
Most people get shot in the streets. All right. Shout out to Sally. She loves the hood. She loves everybody. She loves all the people. She loves everybody on this bitch. So shout out to Sally. Making cakes and loving people, making chicken, and Doey stealing that chicken. So,
all right. So go with your answer before we go into that chicken shit. Go ahead. Go with your answer.
Well, I want to say, but Doey want to talk. So
I wanted to just say something about Sally. I'm sorry. No, Sally.
People off all the time.
It was funny.
Man loves to cut people off. Shit's ridiculous.
Okay.
He's a habitual cutter.
Edward Cutterham.
Damn, he habitually cuts your hands like Edward Scissorhands.
He's drinking that Cuddy Sark.
Damn.
Cuddy Stark.
Go ahead, Double. Go ahead.
I started. I'm very pro cannabis. I'm a pro cannabis user, so from like a very young age. And when we were young,
what does it mean to be a pro cannabis user?
It means he was a professional.
It's a professional way of saying I'm a smoker.
I was for smoking very very young age. And when you guys would come to my house, I'd smoke and stuff like that, and then you'd go back to your houses, and then Celia would like really put the like shakes on Tony, like, why do you smell like that? You smell. And
Yo, I
it was like,
hated that shit. When they had to come pick me up and Lena would be in the car, Lena would beast. What's that smell, Mom? Mom be like, oh, what were you doing? I'm like, I was not doing nothing. Doughboy was smoking weed. I was just sitting there playing video games and eating. Let me see your eyes. She'll fucking have me open my eyes wide open.
sober.
Blow in my face. Blow in my
Sober.
face. I'm like, yo, like, are you? I was like, I'm not fucking smoking. And then when I get home, mira pa, Tony estaba con Doughboy fumando marijuana. I'm like, hey, cabrón. I'll be like, damn, Dad, I wasn't smoking. That's fucking Doughboy. I can't control. Oh, don't go to his house no more. I was like, fuck that. That's my boy. I'm gonna go to his house. Like, I'm not like, what the hell? I'm not smoking. Y'all gotta trust me enough to that I'm not smoking weed. Like, I'm not doing that shit. Like,
Tony was a mess over here, smelling like weed with a gerbil's eyeball hanging off his back pocket.
all that shit, bro. It's like they
I
were
was in
attacking
the
me.
same boat. Yo, I used to go to my mama's crib, and she used to be like, "Yo, you was smoking weed over there?" I'm like, "Nah, ma. Everybody else smoke weed. You know, I don't do that shit."
Mm-hmm.
And that's the fucking truth. I was never about the whole doing drug shit.
Nope.
I don't know. I don't know what it was. Let's just say I got scared straight at a young age. I never fell into the whole like doing drugs.
I've tried it.
Yeah. Fucking my mom. Yeah, they used to. My mom and even my pops. My pops used to smell me coming into the crib and be like, "Yo, usted estaba fumando marihuana." And I was like, "Nah, pops." I was like, "Nah, pops. Like we good. Like I wasn't out there." No me diga mentira. I was like, yo, Pops, chill. I wasn't, I'm going to take this shirt off. Yo, I hang out with some people. Some of them smoke. Everybody don't smoke. It ain't like that.
They didn't believe
a mí no me gusta esa mierda, coño. A mí no. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. So that was the whole thing, yo. That's the thing, yo. A lot of immigrant people, man, they don't fuck with the whole, especially the Mexicans, man. They do not like that marijuana shit.
I would say they
new
like
age
it more.
Mexicans.
They would like it more
I
than
don't know
the
about no new age, man. I'm an old age baby, all right? And they didn't like anybody smoking any of that motorway.
I was
How do they say that?
Bota.
Motas way.
Fumando esa mota, way.
Motas way.
So I don't know
I
what a
was-
motor is, but yeah,
I was
know it's marijuana.
socially outcasted in my family. I was the black sheep from a
of the
very young
marijuana.
Yeah,
age
man.
because
So
of the
was Chris
smoking,
Farley,
yeah.
man, and Chris Farley was funny.
Because I everybody in the
Shout out to David
Spanish.
Spade.
Yo, Chris Farley, man, rest in peace. Fucking
R.I.P.
legend.
man. I was watching just like I was gonna say the other day. It was like 2 months ago now. That Beverly Hills Ninja.
Mm-hmm.
Yo,
you
seeing
know
that
what-
fat motherfucker go from a blundering fat piece of shit buffoon into the ultimate fucking ninja, shit was satisfying.
Is there
what's
a
interesting
there's a mo-
is all these hipster girls now, they want to live in a van down by the river. Like that's like the dream for them. It's no longer a warning.
Shit is wild. So, what was your point, though?
To bring
Bruce?
it to,
Yeah, bring it back.
I don't know about my point, but I was just
Or
gonna
your
say,
answer.
like like my perspective on the whole. Because I don't know if you know how we do on the One Up podcast, right? Every time we give an answer, we need to give 3 tangents. That's a rule that we have on the back end. We got backroom deals, all right, baby.
It's written into the contract actually that we all sign whenever we.
Yeah.
I didn't
It's written in
pass out
blood.
any
Devil
contracts
shit. We
or
all
any
got a
of
scar
that,
on
so
our
I don't
arm.
know.
A lot of people ain't willing to show it, but I'll show it right here. We all cut ourselves right here, and it's written in blood. Okay.
Oh, so
And-
maybe
and-
I'm the
and-
most committed here because I got the biggest scar of them all. So maybe I'm the
Yeah.
most committed
Yeah, you got one on your abdomen.
by the
Because
shark.
Tony don't got abs, because Tony.
I got abs. They're just underneath all this extra protective cover.
That's one way to look at it. All right.
Under his
So-
armor.
So, a couple of interesting. So, just to add on to Mateo's thing, right? If I recall correctly with what he's saying, because I've had a couple whiskeys and there's been a couple tangents and different conversations and such. But I grew up completely poor. I'm a first generation American. Like my parents, I actually my parents are American now, but they came from another country. And we had welfare and all that type of stuff. And all this to say that like I'm not shunning or like shitting on anybody who's using welfare anything like that. I had an EBT card. Even in college, I was so broke that we got an EBT card to pay for college, right? Sorry, not to pay for college, to pay for groceries while I was in college, right?
What
And
an exciting event when you get that EBT card. It's almost like, oh my God.
I've
When
never
we were
gotten one.
kids, we got one very seldomly. For some reason, my mother, as a single mother, making way less than middle class, she still couldn't qualify for food stamps at one point. But when we did get food stamps, boy, we got that good.
yeah, no, that shit is fire. Like, I literally had it for like a semester. I feel like they were giving it for like 6 months at a time. And you had to like reapply, and I literally only got it for 6 months total out of my whole like 5.5 year stint in college. Like,
Shit.
and I was on that long plan, baby, because I'm poor and dumb and fucking I changed majors and I made a lot of foolish decisions. But all that being said, my family's on food stamps. We grew up poor, first generation, all that shit. I went to college. I graduated. I got a degree. I got a good job. I get paid well. All that good stuff. So I may have a more like a very different perspective than people that grew up poor and they're still poor. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not necessarily able to necessarily provide on that perspective. But my advice to a poor person, and I got to think on this a little more. My advice on a poor person is just not have kids, because I think bringing somebody into this world's already fucked up in a lot of different ways. You know what I'm saying? And then to be poor on top of that, and to not have the resources both for food and clothing, education, all that shit, it's sad, and it's a big detriment. And I have friends that it's kind of depressing. They straight up say like, I never asked to be born. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's kind of fucked up that I was born into this fucked up situation. And that's an anecdote. That I'm not saying that to speak for all poor people, because again, I grew up poor, and you could ask me and my brothers, man, we fucking loved our life, yo. We were a bunch of poor kids. That was the best time of my life, man. That shit almost makes me want to cry just thinking of like how much fun and how happy we were as children, even though we didn't have much.
Yeah.
This shit was the just the absolute best, just making the most out of nothing. But yeah, fucking what I found most interesting was Tony and Doey making anti-abortion arguments. Believe it or not.
Anti-abortion arguments.
Yeah.
I don't feel that way. I feel like if you
No.
don't-
I know you don't feel that way. I don't think you realize that the arguments you were making were anti-abortionists, but
No, yeah, I could see how it could
I didn't
be
say
construed
anything
as that.
anti-abortion.
sure, you didn't say those words, but that doesn't mean that that's not the argument that you made. Like, because Mateo specifically said, yeah, I'm not saying any of that bullshit. Like, because you guys are saying like, you're like, yeah, I was poor and all of that, and I was born, but yeah, I think my life mattered, and it matters, and I should have been born, and like essentially is like the gist of the argument you were making. And a lot of like that would be the same argument you would make towards someone who would choose to get an abortion, is that that kid could grow up to be doughy who wishes to live. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, there's some similar points that y'all were. There's some similar wording that y'all were using that is also used in anti-abortion.
Oh no, yeah, I'm not,
arguments.
I'm with people choosing.
Also,
Yeah,
just so y'all know, our producer is in my ear, and she's telling Tony to stop looking at his phone and to focus on the podcast. So, Tony, if you could,
I would do that if the producer stops hitting me up.
So, and one other interesting aspect that I don't think any of us had touched on, and it's also part of the reason, because my advice would be just don't have kids, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was in college, my wife was on birth control. I was using condoms. We were making sure, damn sure, not to have children. Because even my uncle, shout out my uncle, his wife was on birth control. He was using condoms, got his wife pregnant. That shit happened. They had a kid, beautiful kid, my beautiful baby cousin, who watches the podcast. So shout out. And that shit happens. So still, even when you try the most, shit happens. So, I was trying the most, and I was trying to get to a situation where I was trying to get to a
have a kid
situation
in college when you're at your poorest level of life.
Absolutely, yo. The brokest time of my life, man. It's probably when I was a kid, right? And my parents, whatever the fuck they did, man. I had a lot of video games growing up. I had consoles, televisions. We had cable. We were watching pay-per-views, all that shit. I watch every WrestleMania, every Royal Rumble, every
Damn.
King of the Ring,
You were poor?
every motherfucking SummerSlam. That shit was fucking lit. Shout out Bret Hart, my dog from fucking Alberta, Canada. All right.
With the sharpshooter.
The sharp motherfucking shooter, right? And Shawn Michaels was also one of my favorite. And the manager screw job, fuck Vince McMahon and fuck Shawn Michaels for that, all right?
What was
you don't
Sting's-
understand? Go fuck a goat, because I don't give a fuck about you. Okay?
What was Sting's? Because Sting also did a sharpshooter, but he called it something else, right?
I don't remember. I don't fuck with Sting. That's some WCW shit. All right,
I
we don't
was
fuck with WCW.
I was a
We don't fuck with
WCW boy.
out here. All right,
We're
we some
fucking with the
WWF boys. All
Modernos.
right?
Look at no boys'
No,
face.
Wait 1 second.
Wait,
Nintendo 64, WCW versus NWO.
Revenge.
Y'all wasn't playing
I
that?
ain't play that shit.
That game was fire.
Wow.
I played it only because my cousin Eric and Everett, they fucking loved WCW and all that bullshit. I didn't fuck with that shit.
I ain't fuck
I
with
was
that.
fucking with my WWF WrestleMania 2,000,000, and I was fucking with WWF No Mercy.
No,
okay,
no,
if you wanted to
WCW
play your NWO versus the World, or you wanted to play your other bullshit, whatever the fuck it was called, with your fucking knockoff Rey Mysterio, Mil Mascaras and shit like that, go for it. Do your thing.
So,
Be
Rachel,
happy.
are
No,
you
Rey-
trying to say
Rey-
that you're
Rey
a fan?
Rey Mysterio Jr. was in WCW versus NWO at that point.
Yeah. And
Yes,
then
he
where'd
was.
he go? He went to the place that mattered, baby.
Yo,
The
okay,
place
okay.
that, for all intents and purposes, invented wrestling. All right, we're going on
No,
a whole
shit.
wrestling
No, no,
tangent.
no, no,
We're
no,
talking
wait,
about
wait.
real shit, okay?
I
Real.
started in WCW, okay? God damn it. I wouldn't
So you're a
know.
Goldberg fan? I bet Doey loved Goldberg.
He's a
Coming
Goldberg.
out with
favorite-
the
favorite wrestler.
Sparks, yeah.
Goldberg is the man.
My favorite wrestler of all time is Goldberg.
This thing was like,
The only good thing that came out of WCW, they did three great things. All right, NWO, fire. The triple cage match, the cage on the cage on the cage, fire. Yo, I wanted that so bad. And they had like a triple ring Royal Rumble. Shit was insane, fire. And WCW, you know what? It's capitalism at its finest. Okay, they were the lesser one, the lesser child. And for a time, they were actually bigger than WWF, but the world didn't really know it.
What about that? What about that Nature Boy Ric Flair though?
woo!
Hey, man, he's from WWF. He went to WCW. All right, y'all got your timelines all fucked. No. What really happened was the WWF was a fucked up organization. That's why I say fuck the Manchester Screwjob, fuck Vince McMahon, and all that bullshit. They had a whole lot of problems. A lot of people got poached to WCW.
There's a butt coming.
So would you say that
No.
WW?
That was
okay.
around the era. Like 98, 99, around the Rock and the Stone Cold Steve Austin era. That was the era that I kind of fell off of watching
See,
wrestling.
The Rock was so corny. I like The Rock now, but he was so corny as a
man.
wrestler.
Yo,
That
I
stupid
love The
eyebrow.
Rock. Yo, dead ass in the hood. This is how I was, right? All the people, a lot of Puerto Rican people want to be white. A lot of the people, they were like some Stone Cold Steve Austin fans. And guess what? As a young brown
316,
man,
baby.
I saw The Rock as a fucking hero, baby. I was like, damn, all these fucking wrestlers my whole life have been white people. All right. And the only dark skinned man that fucking pulled up in the ring was like a fucking Papa Shango. He was a witch doctor from like Jamaica or some shit. He was a fucking stereotype.
So
And that motherfucker transitioned into becoming the Godfather. He was a pimp. That guy was a pimp. That was a black man who was a pimp. Like those are the people that was like, all right, these are the only brown people, the black and brown people. And then when The Rock came around, it was like, damn.
What about Booker T?
oh, that was after that. That was
WCW,
after.
man. Fuck
No,
that.
Booker T goes back to WWF, I think.
WWE.
He went to WWF, but I think Booker T might be one of the longest reigning champions in WCW history. Shout out Booker T, all right, because he's named after Booker T. Washington, one of the legends in true American history for Black
To
people.
go back to the whole Steve Austin shit, right? First off, Steve Austin
Wait,
was a legend.
Steve Austin whooped his ass in a supermarket. Epic. That's
Epic.
just what I wanted to say.
Because y'all want to say
these
Puerto
are
Ricans
just
always
these are
wanna,
perspectives from the top people on the podcast.
because people want to, the upper
Remember
etchings.
my
Nigga,
point is these light skinned people,
Yeah,
and they love their trailer park as Steve Austin popping Budweiser.
bottom feeders just need to pay attention to this upper shit real quick, all right? Steve Austin was the fucking man. 316 motherfucking game. Matter of fact, Mateo, you live in fucking Texas. Don't even disrespect Austin. He'll come to your house and fucking straight up
The Texas rattlesnake himself.
Motherfucker, he'll start calling stuff in your ass. And mind you, I was also a Rock fan. The fucking people's elbow, the eyebrow.
That's the eyebrow.
Wow. I got that shit.
I rock bottom my daughter every day.
Facts. They need that.
I swear to God. Ask my wife. My daughter be getting a little too rowdy.
This is what our producer was talking. This is what our producer was talking about, Tony. That phone should be on silent here.
No,
This is a lack of professionalism from these people up top. These people up top got no respect for the podcast.
They just think that they can get by off the clout.
This is why the money.
This is why we're the foundation down here.
Yeah, we're the anchors.
Yeah, y'all keep being anchors because that's the money.
Look at Doey's face. That's pretension and tipping.
Doey looks like he's about
full of tip and pretension. Go ahead.
I am a DJ, you know. I do have a SoundCloud and a YouTube page. Okay.
He looks like he was about to sip some champagne and drink and eat some caviar or something up there.
That's on the bucket list. I due to certain circumstances, I've had the capability to travel around a little bit and try a lot of different food. I've never had caviar. I'd like to try some.
Yeah,
it's all right.
I'm good off that.
I've had roe on top of sushi.
Yeah, that shit don't count.
But that's not quite the same.
It's like not the same level.
Yeah.
It's like on the same level as my passion fruit poppers. So what I was ultimately trying to say, because we got to keep the shit moving. The one of the arguments that I saw on Twitter that took me aback a little bit was that they were ultimately trying to say that people telling poor people to not have kids is equivalent, literally equivalent, is the modern day manifestation of eugenics. For people who don't know what eugenics are, it is just basically trying to solve for genetic
inadequacies.
Like things that you don't want, right? You're trying to solve for genetic, not deformities, but just shortcomings.
It's historically used by white supremacists. Like I think that the term
namely the Nazis.
I think the term was invented by a Nazi scientist. Like it might not have been, but I was happily staying corrected. Like if someone comes at us in our comments,
I'm just saying that eugenics is most famously associated with Nazis for grabbing a bunch of Jewish people and gay people, and I say in the most respectful terms because I don't know the right words, but like what they would have categorized as like gypsy people and gay people and darker skinned people. They grabbed all these people, put them in concentration camps, basically try to excise them from society to try to create a master race through eugenics in a sense, which is basically if you remove all the undesirables from society, then the gene pool would be better. Right, you get rid of all these pieces of shit. Is like what their view is. Not my view. I'm just, I'm just repeating like the Nazi point of view. And from what I saw on Twitter, people feel like, granted, this podcast is full of people of color, and 2.5 of us feel like maybe poor people shouldn't have kids. They view us as a bunch of white people of privilege that are telling people not to have children, and we want eugenics and we want to wipe out like the black and brown and Hispanic races out of society. I don't necessarily agree with that, and maybe because I disagree, I'm painting it in a more like a bit of a straw man. But they're basically saying that the argument of telling a poor person not to have a child is equivalent to saying like we don't want black people because what was the fucking word? Proportionally, there are more black people and Hispanic people that are poor. So if you tell a poor person not to have a kid, you're basically telling mostly Black and Hispanic people not to have a kid. And even when I say mostly, I'm still speaking strictly in percentages, because I think if you grab the bulk of the people that are poor, the majority of them would be white, anyways. Um, I really think so. Like
I
if
heard
you like,
I heard
I'd,
that
I'd be I'd be curious to see the stats because I'm not I don't know whether you would be right or wrong on that one, honestly. And
yeah,
and
yeah,
because,
yeah.
and because I don't know whether you would be right or wrong, it makes me think that like there is a there's a good chance that you're not
Yeah, yeah.
incorrect
I'm
there.
just saying, like, if white people are 60% of society, and say like 10% of them are poor or whatever, and maybe that's a low number or whatever, but let's just say 10% of them are in poverty. That means that 6% of them are, 6%. I'm fucking drunk. My math's off. Point is that from what I've read is that the majority of poor people are white. The difference is that disproportionately, that like when you look at the number, like it might be like, oh, the poverty rate is just like 20% or something, but then when you look at the Black population and Hispanic population, you see, oh, the poverty rates are creeping at like the 40, 50, 60%. And it's
Mhm.
like, damn, most of these people are poor. So when you tell poor people not to have kids, you're basically saying like, chop your population in half because y'all not having kids no more. And they're saying ultimately that it's like a form of eugenics. And
I think there's definitely some parallels. I don't think it's straight up eugenics. What sucks is that having kids is expensive, and it's very expensive. And kids are one of the most precious things in the world to me. I think that children should be protected, and I think they should be allowed to thrive, emotionally, physically, financially. Like I think that's what you owe to a child if you bring it into this world. This is a fucked up world. I think that you should do as much as you can to make that child's life easier. Um, so yeah, my personal advice would remain the same, and I do think that advice does disproportionately affect people of color.
I think people might call me a socialist for saying this, but I think there should be more programs for helping out, you know, children, and more money should be sunk into that if that's your choice. If you do want to have a child and you don't necessarily have the amount of money, I don't think you should be taken out of the candidacy. You know what I
I
mean? Like,
yeah,
I agree. I agree 100%.
yeah, I also agree. But sorry, I laughed in the middle of your comment because I agree, and I wouldn't want to be called a socialist. So I was,
yeah, I wouldn't want to
I
be.
would, I don't like. I'm not a big fan of political labels and shit like that because that shit gets used to like fight against people and all that bullshit. But I think that based on my beliefs, I'd be most categorized with like a social democrat, which is basically like someone who's like on the left, not quite a socialist or a Democrat, but sorry, not quite a socialist or communist, but that ultimately they want like more and more social like safety nets so that people could. I don't want no one to starve to death or nothing crazy like that. I'm not no survival of the fittest ass person. So um, yeah, I don't know. So one aspect of all of this that we were talking about, because a lot of the times our topics come from just us having conversations in different contexts. So we'll be having a conversation in a Discord, playing video games, or fucking on a PlayStation party and shit like that. But the conversation of addictions also came up. Somewhat in the context of that, also coupled with the fact that DMX had recently died due to having an overdose on drugs. Rest in peace, DMX.
Rest in peace. Yeah.
Um, and since we're doing multiple RIPS this episode, earlier I was talking about Trojan House, and this is now literally a deviation for me introducing a topic, but that's how we do on the one up. But RIP, my dog, motherfucking Kenny, motherfucking Marilys. We were in Trojan House. Kenny was the fucking homie. Rest in peace, Kenny. All right.
to
Absolutely.
to break the fourth wall a bit here. Tony looks like he might be getting called into work. We might have to call this one early and keep our addiction podcast in the bag.
Yeah, because Tony definitely had the most, the hottest addiction take from our short conversation. I don't want to talk for the man.
Yeah,
100%. He was the one like driving that conversation. So
I
like,
agree.
Yeah. So, did you guys want to talk about the
We could talk about
we could talk
concept.
about WCW versus WWF all day.
man, all
Like,
right, you want to get into wrestling talks? All right.
because I'm gonna tell you, Goldberg was in fact the man.
I loved
100%.
him. I
I'm
love,
fucking-
bro.
That music comes on. That music comes
Bro.
on, and he walks out, and they breathe
Bro.
smoke out through his nose when he's doing his little crazy flex.
I think
What was the Goldberg music?
Dun 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 dun. I don't know what the song actually
Yeah.
was.
No.
It's like Superman music.
It
But
was like Godzilla's walking in. Dun-dun-dun-dun.
if I'm not correct, his
If
debut
you're not wrong.
was against the Big Show. Bro, he lifted the Big Show straight up into the air on his shoulder and then dropped him back. Yo, when I saw that, bro, as a child, I was like, yo, who is this man? Because I've never seen the Big Show be picked up like that, like it was nothing.
This is the Big Show's a prime example. Shout out to the Big Show.
Wasn't he the giant at that point?
No.
The Giant, or
he
one
was
of
the
them,
fake-
yeah.
He was the fake giant. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
my
wasn't
point.
Andre the Giant.
This is my point. Okay. Shout out to the Big Show because it's always the Big Bag Show tonight. Okay. I fuck with the Big Show, and ultimately the Big Show came to WWF. You know what I'm saying? So WWF always wins.
I liked Kevin Nash. Also, you know what's interesting?
Yes.
Kevin Nash, he seems like he would be a total like right wing alt right dude, and he actually has posted some pretty progressive things on his Twitter over the past year or so. So, big shout out to Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash. He was in WWF before WCW.
I think so, and then he came to WCW.
What the
and
fuck was his name?
He was part of the NWO like takeover of WCW.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there was a lot of because like I remember Razor Ramon, who the WCW wimps, as I call them, like Mateo and Dowie, the WCW wimps. They know my man Razor Ramon, who lost the first ladder match in WWF history against Shawn Michaels. They know my man as, I believe his name is Scott Hall. He's just
Yes,
a
it
white
is.
man in brown
Yeah.
face for all intents and purposes. But for me as a kid, man, I looked at Razor Ramon with a toothpick and I was like, yo, my fucking brother.
Dude,
right?
Scott
He's
had
holding
that,
it down.
He had that toothpick in his mouth, and he had that greasy, gross ass hair just slicked all the way back. That man looked like he was definitely going to betray you. You should not trust that man. He was 100% going to betray you at some point.
Some would say that's racist. Are you saying that toothpicks and greasy hairs equate to
he had a mannerism. That man didn't walk; he slinked across.
He was the WWF World Champion. Okay, I might add. Okay, and
by the way, I heard Bad Bunny was on WWF last night and he fucking killed it. Everybody is saying that Bad Bunny needs to be in WWF now.
Who's saying that?
Trap singer?
Last night,
The
apparently,
Spanish trap singer?
yes, apparently his appearance last night on the WWF was like everybody on Twitter is going ape shit about it.
Why?
He was on, I guess, you know how they've been having Snoop Dogg. They had Bad Bunny
they have guest
before.
appearances.
Yeah,
For
I guess
years, they've had many guest appearances. Like I remember during the what the fuck was the green and black? There was X-Pac. There was Shawn Michaels was a part of the crew. I can't remember that. But it was WWF. In my opinion, it was their answer
Generation
to
X.
NWO. Yeah,
Generation
exactly. It was their
X.
answer to NWO because NWO was way better.
By the way, Tony, welcome to all the glitters is gold. Our Goldberg podcast. It's our new spin-off series from the One Upcast.
Goldberg
Yeah, ever since you took a
podcast.
phone call, we just went full wrestling. You know what I'm saying?
Can't leave you kids alone.
Pooch is a big wrestling fan. All right, people might not know that about me. All right, before I was a grown ass man and believed in nothing but science and facts. I was a firm believer that only the pieces of shit in the world wanted to hold wrestling down and wanted to treat it as a fake sport, okay? These are the greatest athletes in the history of man. Fuck the Greeks, fuck the Olympics, fuck the NWA.
Well, I
Fuck
don't know.
Can,
I don't know why
wait,
they think it's
no
fake.
one is more impressive
while
than
we
people were
watching
actually
one of the
bleeding.
Hardy Boys do a motherfucking swanton bomb off the top of the fucking ladder. Okay, nothing was more
I
impressive.
mean, the slaps and the punches, I can maybe see that, but back in the days,
slaps.
like now, if you watch
Probably some
wrestling
Ric
now,
Flair
they
shit?
pull that you can pull the punch. You see that I'm
Nowadays,
saying
that's
back
always
then,
been always.
Back then, bro, they had broken glass shards on the fucking floor, fucking thumbtacks, and niggas was getting flipped and shit on that fucking stage, bro.
You're thinking of one of the dopest wrestling federations, ECW. Which we haven't brought up.
No, Mick Foley in WWF also did that shit.
Foley did that
Yeah.
shit.
Big
Yo,
shout out.
He was bringing some
did
of
that shit.
some of that big dick energy from ECW.
Yo, Mick Foley was such a good fucking actor. As a child, I did not separate his characters. I knew it was the same person, but I always felt like it was somebody else because he had the lumberjack guy. Mm-hmm. Then he had the Sacco dude, and then he had another one.
Didn't he play Mankind for a little while too? He was a secret Mankind.
Mankind. Wait, the lumberjack and one more.
Yeah, he had a hippie. It was Dude Love.
Dude Love.
I'm pretty sure he had 5 characters. One of which we named 4. I'm missing one, I think.
That's wild.
But yeah, he had Cactus Jack. He had Mankind. He had Dude Love. He had Cactus Jack. And there was one more.
So we've talked about a lot of legends here, but can we talk about how bad Donald Trump is at faking hits whenever he was on the WWF? That man is trash for so many reasons, but he made the WWF worse every time he was on it. There was so much stupid gimmicky bullshit with that. He made
everything worse. Not only was he a piece of shit in terms of how horrible he was at selling anything he did on the WWF. I remember, like it was yesterday, Mike Tyson was going to get into a fight with Holyfield, right? Because I'm a boxing fan. And Tony wants to put boxing down. You know what? Fuck Tony.
When the fuck did I put boxing down?
This is a mutiny, baby. This is your problem. You haven't even had a drink and you already forgot the conversation. You tried to put boxing down. I'm pretty sure, and I forgot the conversation, but I remember all your infractions. I want to say as I brought up football about proving something. You were talking I could prove that the Cowboys won, blah, blah, blah. The Cowboys ain't won shit in so many motherfucking years. The last thing I remember the time that the Cowboys were relevant when the Green Bay Packers spanked that ass in 1997 or 8 or 9.
He said that all boxing matches are rigged.
And guess what happened in the great year of 1998?
Yeah, no, because he said
New York motherfucking Giants, the little Giants, coached by none other than the fucking Honey I Shrunk the Kids man.
The legend, Rick Moranis.
Rick Moranis,
Giants,
okay?
Nigga, how about that?
Yeah, right.
The Giants.
You say
fuck
fuck
the
the
little
Giants. You had steroids.
Fuck all
you had
the Giants.
steroids. You had little Hercules.
Over all y'all.
You had all the things. You had the coaches.
Fuck
you had the
Giants,
support.
nigga. How about that?
You had the
fuck
greatest.
The Eagles,
you had the money.
The Redskins,
you had the dollars.
The Washingtons.
Go back.
All of them.
Yeah, fuck them. But watch this.
Keep watching the greatest.
Watch the
Keep
facts.
watching.
The kid from the Casper movie, alongside Rick Moranis, alongside the kid who couldn't fucking catch a ball, so you had to put glue on his hands. These motherfuckers whipped the Cowboys. Okay,
the annexation of Puerto Rico, bud.
Yep, they fucking ran the annexation of motherfucking Puerto Rico. Okay. One of the few times I was proud of Puerto Rico, only because it was an association with the New York football.
So you're just disrespecting all Puerto Ricans now.
Well, my wife's Dominicans from New York, and my child's a Puerto Rican. So I have New York, yo. Right.
They want to just shit on the Puerto Ricans because they said that the Puerto Ricans in New York back in the days just shut on every Hispanic person.
Yeah, the Puerto Rican single-handedly started a rumor that Dominican people don't wear socks.
I want to welcome all our new listeners to the Rick Moranis cast, where we talk about race relations between Dominican people and Puerto Rican people for some reason.
They said that they started that you guys didn't wear socks with your shoes.
Yeah.
That's fucking funny.
Go ask any Puerto Rican. Do Dominicans wear socks? They'll all say no.
I've got a related topic to that. There was a thing that popped up on Twitter, and it's a thing that I've talked with some of my buddies about. There is a claim on Twitter, and there's a lot of white people that come out and co-sign this statement that white people don't wash their legs.
Oh my
And they
god!
shower.
No,
I had this
it's
conversation
true.
with a couple of white coworkers, and they don't wash their legs.
It's
Yeah,
true.
That's wild.
Yeah, there were a bunch of people that came out on. There were a bunch of people
I
that
just
came
want
out
to
on.
say it's not true. Let's not
Nobody's
go down
saying it's
that
true.
rabbit
He's
hole.
co-signing with
It's
you.
not a fact. But I've seen
No.
many.
I don't see. I don't like that. That's some Tony
Okay.
shit. Tony, you'll make a statement. Tony will co-sign it times 20, and then it's like, okay, so that's Pucho's belief now. It's like, nah. I'm just saying that I had this conversation with a couple of my white coworkers,
Dirty bird.
and there was a plurality of them. I would say even a majority of them, they didn't wash their legs, and I was shocked because not only do I wash my legs, a lot of people don't use washcloths. All right, for a better part of my life, we wash ourselves with any number of things that we have on hand.
That is
Changed the game. Shout out to my motherfucking cousin Will. All right, he showed up with this fucking Walmart or this Publix glove. The shit is made of pure exfoliation magic. Okay, you want your skin silky smooth? Shout out to what I call the motherfucking Power Glove. Not to be confused with the whack ass Nintendo Power Glove.
Whoa,
we're talking about the motherfucking Power Glove.
You
That shit
take
was
that
whack.
back. That
That shit
shit won
was
the
whack.
tournament, and you know what? That shit, it's so bad.
It's so bad.
Actually, I also want to shout out
The Wizard, the Wiz.
The
No,
Wiz.
the Wiz is with Michael
Wizard.
Jackson.
Yeah, it's a wizard, right?
On Pucho's thing, which might be a double up. Pucho also introduced me to the fucking Power Glove in the gym because we used to go to the gym.
No.
What?
I
No,
showed
what?
you to the loofah.
No, I always brought the Alufa.
Nah.
Yes,
We
it
didn't
was
have
the
Power Gloves in
glove.
the gym. I remember because I specifically purchased. I remember it was a was it right guard?
I don't know
I
what
want to say it
the
was.
name
I
of
want
it
to say it was
is.
right guard. An Old Spice. It was an Old Spice
Spice.
package. It was an Old Spice package. It came with 2 different like body soaps and loofah that had like a handle. It was supposed to be manly, or very fucking manly. And yeah, I used to wash my whole body with that. You put me on the loofah, Tony. You got your shit all fucked. That's why I don't trust y'all.
You put me on the
Y'all
Power
being Puerto
Glove.
Ricans.
I had the Alufa. You put me on the
Yeah,
Power
but you
Glove.
talking gym talks, 24-hour fitness. I didn't have no Power Glove.
Damn, that's your
You
daughter.
hear that, baby?
Uh-huh.
That's crazy.
She got the lungs. Well,
So, what's up, Tony?
I do want to say fuck that Power Glove from Nintendo. And everybody keeps forgetting about the best wrestler that is also so demoralizing to people's fucking life after he does this move. But everybody knows and loves Rikishi. And when them butt cheeks goes on your
Is that
face,
the butt cheek thing?
oh my God, bro. Them butt cheeks were black and sweaty and smelly.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter if it was fake at the end of the day. Somebody was getting ass cheeks pressed against their face.
That shit was a destruction to anybody's face. Anybody's face. Rikishi was the man for that. Was the man. That shit made my day. Just saying.
See, this is where the
Someone
WCW
brought up
divide.
Steve Nash.
This is where the WCW divide is because I like my wrestlers growing up were like Goldberg, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, Diamond Dallas Page.
Woo!
Some
Yo,
stripper.
DDP?
Yeah, the DDP was fire. I'll give you that.
What about the 3D boys, Dudley boys, or whatever?
Weren't they like with
Not in the same
Rikishi?
breath as fucking Diamond
They were
Dallas Page.
WWF people. Or WWE. Was it WWE or WWF?
The WWF, Dudley
Yeah.
Boys. They were in the famous, there was a trifecta of hardcore wrestlers. There was the Dudley Boys, there were the Hardy Boys, and there was the other team that I don't believe had a name, but it was Chris and Edge.
Yeah, they were
They were originally part of the Ministry of Darkness. That was a gang of motherfuckers created
Hardy boys. Weren't they
and
the Hardy
ran
boys?
by
No.
the Undertaker himself. The Undertaker took Stephanie McMahon hostage. And in the hypest moment, shout out to the bodies who love Stone Cold Steve Austin. And one of the hypest moments in WWF history, okay? Stone Cold Steve Austin came out in the middle of when Stephanie McMahon was supposed to get like some type of, her soul was about to be sacrificed to Satan because the Undertaker was all about that bullshit at that point.
Yep.
Stone Cold Steve Austin came out and he just straight up Stone Cold Stunner 20 people in a row and saved Stephanie McMahon's life. Yeah, we'll find this video and overlay it if need be. If people don't know the moment, all right. But this motherfucker, I don't fuck with Stone Cold Steve Austin, even though the Stunner was fire. Because I was, I was down with my black and brown people. I wanted nothing but Dwayne the Rock Johnson energy. Okay. But when Stone Cold Steve Austin came out and he Stone Cold Stunnered like 20 motherfuckers in a row to save Stephanie McMahon, and I mind you, Stephanie McMahon's part of the 1%. She's the daughter of Vince McMahon, who I said fuck Vince McMahon for the Mancha screw job, because my boy from Alberta, Canada, never deserved to lose his title. That shit was an inside job, I'll say, right?
They probably use the same reps from the boxing matches you watch. Bringing shit up.
One thing about Stone Cold Stunner, the way that The Rock used to sell the Stone Cold Stunner, where he used to do a flip after he got Stone Cold Stunner, is the most craziest shit ever.
The most ridiculous shit is when you see The Rock, he used to stretch his arms out. So not only he got stunnered, not only did he flip back, he would stretch his arms out. You'd go, this man is in full handstand mid flip. The shit was impressive. The Rock was the man. The Rock would sell any motherfucking move. I remember The Rock's debut. I remember it. I was so fucking hyped.
I remember
he had these stupid fucking tassels on his biceps. He had on like a colorful. Maybe my mind's all fucked up. But they used to call the boy Rocky Maivia, some shit like that.
Yeah,
he was not The Rock.
The Rock came after the Versace silk shirts.
Even Stone Cold Steve Austin, I'm pretty sure they called him the Ringmaster at some point. Like a lot of shit in wrestling, they go through a lot of iterations. They'll introduce a wrestler, the character, the persona doesn't go very well. Shout out to Persona. I'm playing Persona 5. I just beat Kamoshida's Palace. The persona doesn't go very well, so you got to transition to a different persona. You know what I'm saying?
I also
the same as when you're in the middle of a battle with the boss and persona, and it's like, the lightning's not their weakness, so you got to switch the persona, hit them L1 R1 actions, blah 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 blah. Pick some of that Aggie flow, hit them with a fire.
I do think that
same way the WWF would the same way they'll kill Rocky Maivia, they'll kill the Ringmaster, they'll kill a variety of characters to keep a character more not recent's not the word I'm looking for, relevant. Both to keep a character more relevant, and also just if a character didn't hit, they just want to try another character. So like you got Stone Cold Steve Austin, you got The Rock, like one of the big wrestlers, Shawn Michaels, he was tag team partners with Marty Jannetty. Before he was a singles, they were the tag team motherfucking champions. And not only did Stone Cold Steve Austin steal his woman, which I'm not saying like women are an object to be stolen and things like that, but that was the story that they were portraying. I'm just giving you the story.
You guys are forgetting the most important
Stone Cold Steve Austin kicked Marty Jannetty, sweet chin music out the motherfucking barbershop window. Okay?
Y'all are forgetting.
People don't remember that shit. I was hyped. Okay, he went out the barbershop window, crash, glass, and then Stone Cold, and then because Stone Cold, Shawn Michaels went on to win a variety of things. He don't want to Royal Rumble.
Pujo. You are fucking out of control right now. You're forgetting the most magical moment. I think it is when Steve Austin and The Rock joined forces and started whooping asses left and motherfucking right. Stone Cold Steve Austin with the Stone Cold Stunner, and then the Rock Bottom and the People's Elbow. All that shit came together, straight destroying. But then it was short.
I love that you just named two moves by The Rock. Rock Bottom and the People's Elbow.
Yeah, because he needs two.
You're showing your true colors. The Rock is the best.
He needs two.
You don't give a fuck about the Stone Cold Stunners. All your words are George Soros fucking propaganda. I don't want to hear it.
He needs two.
I don't want to hear it.
He needs one. One move is stronger than both those two. He needs two to make the strength of this one move. Because not only is he kicking them in the fucking stomach, he's also hitting them with the shoulder lean on their ass.
I'm telling you, we have slept on the greatest wrestler of all time.
Goldberg.
If we're speaking RIPs to people too, no man in wrestling is more deserving of this. The greatest of all time, the Macho Man Randy Savage. Because that man was king of the promos. You ever watch those old Macho Man Randy Savage promos? That man was batshit insane, crazy. and he was just the greatest. He was the absolute best for those batshit insane promos he would do.
Single-handedly
him a
made
lot.
me want to eat endless amounts of Slim Jims. At that age, I didn't even know what a Slim Jim was. In those commercials, he used to bend them in half, but it would make like
This man
an
loves Slim Jim.
electricity that I was like, I don't know, is that like a glow stick or something? Like it popping or what the fuck? He's like, snap into it. He's like, snap into a Slim Jim. Them shits don't fucking snap. I don't know what he's talking about. And that motherfucker's a racist. His character's a racist. He's straight up trying to be like a Chicano. He got no business being Chicano. He ain't brown.
Likes him?
And he ain't from LA. All right. His name is Randy. Okay.
The promo where he's talking about the cream of the crop and he's over there with Gene, whatever that dude's name is from WWF.
He was married to Princess Elizabeth.
And he just keeps pulling out these little like creamer cups and putting them on like his head and on like Gene's head. This is one of the greatest promos of all time.
It's terrible.
The cream rises to the top, baby.
Shout out to Randy Savage because he went to WCW early. He was one of the first. He was one of the first. So I'll give a shout out. My dog knew what time it was. Same.
Also, fuck Hulk Hogan, but his Hollywood Hogan character that came over to the WCW was such a great villain. He was such a fantastic villain over on WCW.
Yeah,
he was borderline a villain on WWF because he just won so much that the people hated him. So he went to WCW as Hollywood Hogan. Hollywood is the epitome of everything to the elites, the global elites of the Hollywood people.
Y'all forgetting about the major Hispanic.
Him and Eric Bischoff. They were the biggest piece of shit in wrestling. But
Eric Bischoff was the owner of WCW, right?
Yeah, I think he became the owner. But man, they were so good. Like they were such good villains during that time period.
Yeah. Y'all forgetting Eddie Guerrero.
Facts.
Nobody forgetting Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I ain't mentioned
Guerrero
him, so
wasn't
y'all
shit until the other day, okay? And I fuck with the Latino Heat, okay?
Don't sound like
Latino Heat is the homie. He the homie. But let's keep it real. I had no skin in the game by the time he became champ, okay? Eddie Guerrero, I remember I had quite the stint, maybe a cool 5-6 years. I worked at an elementary school. Shit was weird. Because for some reason, kids are fucking obsessed with wrestling. Yeah. All this shit I'm telling you, I'm about to be 31 any day now. I'm a grown fucking man. I haven't watched wrestling since I was like 9 years old. But I'm telling you this shit with the full passion and glory. Like I've lived this shit every day of my life. Okay. Because that's the little kid in me. Kids fucking love wrestling, and I don't fully understand it.
I vibed with Rey Mysterio so hard. He lost the magic the second he lost the mask, though. Like when he was wearing that mask in WCW and flying 500 feet off the top rope doing these backward moonsaults and whatnot.
It was because maybe you liked him because you guys were like the same height and you thought maybe you can also fly and dagger onto people like Rey Mysterio. Maybe that's why he's fighting for us little people. You and Pucho.
Why would you think he could fly the same height? What makes you think that?
I don't appreciate this heightism from these people up top.
From the top,
just shitting down.
Not my height, but
just shitting down on these on us tailies down here.
Yeah,
you know that we're the ones that hold it together.
Wow,
fuck the tailies.
Wow,
I actually want to see that show.
Even have you're a real Wilford ass motherfucker. You know what I'm
saying? keep them where they're at. That's it.
Damn, keep them all right.
Nah, that's a little beast.
I don't like that kind of energy.
I bring it up.
I would just say those words, Tony. I'm gonna be on my late and shit. I'm gonna come up front and I'm gonna create a revolution. Okay. There's gonna be a mutiny. We already discussed a mutiny earlier. There will be a mutiny.
Pucho, give them big eyes. Give them the David Dig eyes.
I ain't going nowhere. Just like my boy said in The Wolf of Wall Street. What is Uncle Fester doing here in the spot right now? I didn't think
giving you them David Dig eyes, man.
The tailies got rights, okay? The tailies got rights.
The tailies.
Tony, you wanna wrap us up and get us out of this
ugly face motherfucker to get off my
I didn't hear anything y'all say because I took my headphones off. David Diggs is the homie, okay? Shout out Hamilton and tell Doughy to go fuck a goat. You know why? Because on the previous conversation, this motherfucker Doughboy done said, I don't want. I watched the first. I I watched the first 20 seconds of Hamilton and I didn't like it. I only watched 20 seconds and I didn't
I
like it. So
also want to
turned it off.
co-sign on
And
that.
then I don't fucking cut me off. And then he said,
Do my dope shit.
no. I'm on my dope. I'm mimicking Doughboy. You can't mimic me. The fuck. And then he's like, and you haven't even played Persona. And guess what? I'm playing Persona, motherfucker. My hours say that I'm about 11 hours in. Guess what, Mateo? I'm still in the tutorial.
Fuck that, dude.
Yeah,
What?
fuck that. That's what I was telling Doughboy. You know what? He wants nothing but tutorials. He's like, you know what though? It's teaching you how to play the game. The game is so good that it has to teach you how to play. It's like, dude, it's been 11 hours.
That's
How
a real
much longer?
That's a real good doughy. If I close my eyes, I wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
You wouldn't be able to tell the difference. Guess what? I'm gonna go take a piss. How about that?
Well, this was one hell of an episode. Thank you to all the listeners and the viewers here that stuck through the. Oh, here we go. Fucking Doughboy's cut off. Go, Dough.
Is he got to cut off?
No,
What is with these
one
fucking
thing.
fingers? Dough?
No, I'm not cutting
It's
off.
this.
But let me cut off
This
on
is-
my one
This is
thing.
what he does all podcasts.
That's my wow.
hand. Raise my hand to speak. Fuck out of here, Dough. Go ahead. Cut off, King.
No,
Did
I
he
want.
hit the 2? Did you just hit the 2?
Mhm.
That's the classic. What's up with the 2?
I don't know what that meant. Why did that
all
mean?
peace here. All peace.
All peace. Yo, they were saying world peace, so you got to be quiet. When I put up the peace signs, there's no more words spoken. That shit is weird.
Shit is weird.
It's got
Elementary
power.
school, there was some weird moves.
Come on,
It had a
let's
power.
go,
That
let's go,
too.
Dough.
When you saw
No.
your teacher, when Miss Vance, shout out to Miss Vance, Southside Jamaica Queens, homie, PS 182. Miss Vance used to put up the peace sign. The whole gang used to shut up.
Cut it.
Miss Vance made me fall in love with the solar system. Shout out Miss Vance.
All right, I just wanted to send a quick shout out to everyone that watches this podcast, whether it be family, friends, people that come here randomly. Like, we really appreciate everything, all the commenting, all the liking, everything that you guys do, all the feedback. Thank you for that. Like, it really means a lot. I'm having a lot of fun doing this. This is like a very, very much a therapeutic thing for me. And I love you guys. And thank you to everyone that comes here and appreciates, whether it be 5 to 10 minutes to 15 minutes, or, I appreciate you. Thank you.
I don't really. Good shit there, though. This is really. I'm about to start firing y'all motherfuckers because this is starting to be a fucking takeover. I'm not liking this
Fire
shit.
me if I do that.
I'm about to
bullshit.
fire.
If I cut you off in
We're doing an intro, and this nigga comes in with his own outro.
Yeah.
This is
If I
tough.
cut
This is
you off in the
that's a
outro,
one
fire
up on
me.
a one down. That's
Yeah,
why.
one up on the one
That's
down.
why.
Fire
That's
me.
why I canceled you. That's why I canceled you early. 8
Damn,
minutes
those
in, I
been
canceled you.
canceled.
You left hand motherfucker. You are not my right hand, Mateo. You're also not my right hand. Go back to Pucho.
That's
All right.
good, man. I'm holding it down here at the bottom. You know what? We got no discontent down here at the bottom.
Fuck y'all.
We'd be happy about all the fucking. Those motherfuckers are being fed bugs. And at one point, they hinted they were being fed human bodies.
Facts. But like the
We
boy
haven't
said,
done that.
piggybacking, thank you to all the listeners. And we really do appreciate all your comments and all that and feedback. And don't worry, as time goes on, this will get bigger and better. And we would do much more of scolding on Doughboy's part with his bladder issues. Maybe one day he might find out that he has a bladder issue and get it fixed. I don't know.
Yo,
And
what if
then
there
will
was
you
a
guys-
pill? What if
will
there's
you
a
guys
pill you
stop?
could take that you didn't have to deal with that? What if there's a pill you could take?
We need to see a doctor's note, Doey.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Oh, okay. So then why are you so mad at us? We're concerned with your health.
Facts.
We love you, man.
We love you, though.
No, I've been friends with you since the tender age of 12. Some people don't realize
12. Was it
I'm-
12?
Yes, that's how
Yeah.
ages work.
I didn't know it was.
Grow
I didn't know I
as
was 12
time
years old
goes
when I
on.
met y'all.
When every day that
I
passes,
was younger when I met
grow a
you.
little bit.
I was 11.
You was. Oh, I met you when you was 11.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
shit.
6th grade.
Y'all friends before me. See, y'all could eat that.
Thinking that's a one up on Pucho.
Yeah, fuck
They
them.
could-
I don't give a
it's an
fuck, right? Me
unintentional
and Mateo,
one-up.
we're deeper friends. Even though some people know people longer, we're at the bottom, all right, baby?
Yeah.
We're the grounder
No,
folk.
yeah, you guys are.
We
you guys are
we
deeper.
connect on different levels, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, you guys are deeper. You guys are like mole people. You're small and you're.
Yo,
at the
I
bottom.
took a trip and
No
I
one gives
visited
a fuck
Mateo.
about y'all.
Yeah. Me and Mateo went to the bar. Solo Dolo Pueblo. Shout out to Vising. His name is actually Assassin, but it's a lot of V's in there. But it's confused me over the years. Shout out to the homie. Solo Dolo Pueblo, like Solo Dolo, like Manolo. Like, because some people don't realize Scarface done killed the homie, all right? And Scarface was all alone in the world.
Facts.
People don't peep that shit.
I thought you were getting us out of this, Tony.
No.
Well, thank you again.
Tony's
This is the
bad.
One Up podcast, and hopefully we get better at the outro. But I like it though. Thank you again for watching. I am your host, El Caballo, aka Tony, here with Mateo, and Pucho. Peace be with you all.
Just stay quiet. His fan says so.